creates his art out of waste, and that's really becoming a thing, to take what would have been harmful and create something beautiful, something valuable, something useful. And so reaching out to St. George's School, working with the 600 kids and engaging with them to re-engineer the way that we engage the world, the way we embrace the world, and how we deal with waste that would ordinarily have been a pollutant to create value. It's Africa's largest city, most populous. It's our commercial capital in Nigeria. Nigeria, where with a population of 200 million people, approximately 40% are younger than 14 years old. So in other words, with the demographic changes, our youth control our future. Lagos is Africa's most populous city, commercial capital of Nigeria, generating approximately 148,000 metric tons of waste and housing a population of about 200 million people. The Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG number 17, calls for partnership. So 600 children in St. George's School and all of their teachers, 300 employees from their neighboring corporate entity came together to address one single issue. And so today is really just taking some of the waste material and seeing how we can convert cement sacks and bags into beautiful places where you plant new trees to address climate action. It's about taking waste bottles that would have ended up in our oceans and creating practical things out of them, like piggy banks that encourage kids how to save, or pencil holders, or trinkets, bangles that can actually be sold for value. Very exciting is also the idea of taking waste that kids would have found on the street and creating art. Art that can actually not just be beautiful, but actually be a self-expression, be something that can be an emblem of Africa, of African youth, of African enterprise, of job creation, of wealth creation, beyond our shores, beyond the city, up on the global landscape. Just create value, but also create a platform where that value could be shared with other corporates and collaboratively as partners to ensure that we re-engineer the world that we live in such a manner that waste creates value as opposed to ending up in environmental destruction and devastation, really. Larry Tajusho, who works with us on this program, he creates his art out of waste, and that's really becoming a thing, to take what would have been harmful and create something beautiful, something valuable, something useful. And so reaching out to St. George's School, working with the 600 kids and engaging with them to re-engineer the way that we engage the world, the way we embrace the world, and how we deal with waste that would ordinarily have been a pollutant to create value.
Fantastic. Once more, good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. No, please, so it's a feedback thing. So when I say good afternoon, because we have quite a number of people here, I'd like to hear our voices. I know the AC is quite chilled, and some of us are rubbing our palms together and all of that. So the good afternoon feedback can help, all right? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. Very quickly, I'd like for us to look to the person to your left. Please give them a very strong handshake and tell them you're very welcome, please. A very strong handshake. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's nice. Now let's do something else. I want you to look to the person sitting on your right, shake the person very strongly, and don't say anything. Just shake the person very... Yeah. That's nice. That's nice. Ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to this grand launch of a very great initiative put together by GBF. First of all, if you like everything that you have seen here this afternoon, please a round of applause, please. I'm sure some of us saw the video of the very beautiful art that's been created through what a lot of us would refer to as solid waste. I'm sure when we all came in, if you want to look behind you again, you will see this very beautiful art that has been made out of solid waste and plastic especially. This very great work is being done by Mr. Olanrewaju Tejuosho, who is being powered and supported a lot of times by GBF. Please, a round of applause for him. He's somewhere behind us there. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is not a mistake that you're here this afternoon. For the past 23 years, GBF has been creating enterprising opportunities for millions of Nigerians who are at the bottom of the pyramid in the poorest part of Nigeria. The plan, basically, is to scale about 100,000 women and youth into business, to arm them with required skills and opportunities to thrive and move up the ladder of the food chain. GBF alone has executed projects, millions and thousands of projects within several communities in Nigeria. Basically, if you've heard of us, you'd have known about the All for One community project, the Guinness Women Empowerment, the Mascop Lagos, which was GBF's response to COVID-19, and a list of others. The ECI, and why we're gathered here today, ladies and gentlemen, is the latest initiative by GBF and Coca-Cola to create a structure around the stakeholders in the waste recycling and to further share ideas on the myriads of empowerment opportunities in what we now call the plastic economy, the impact of recycling, and in the sustenance of a clean and green environment. Please, one more time, a round of applause for GBF, please, ladies and gentlemen. Because we're a non-governmental organization that is the key interest is to sustain our environment. We're committed to preserving Nigeria, which is our motherland, which is the land that we thrive on. It is only right that we open this event today as patriotic Nigerians with the national anthem. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may we please rise as we take the national anthem. I purposely didn't say anything because for a moment I was going to say the pledge. Earlier, when I got on to introduce and to welcome each and every one of us, we created an hashtag for the program. And ladies and gentlemen, quickly, I'd like to remind us of it because it is very important. What we're doing here today is being viewed and seen, and this will go on to several countries around the world. As I already mentioned earlier, we have participants from all around the world. One more time, please, let's give them a round of applause. They're watching. They're watching. To all our online participants, we'd like to welcome you. The event is eventually kicked off. Please, if you're taking any picture or if you're talking about the event today, because it is great that we have internet footnote history. So please endeavor to use the hashtag ECI Plastic Economy. That's what we came up with this afternoon. Please, it is very important. Without wasting much of our time, we'll quickly like to welcome all our invited guests, all our panelists who will be here to speak with us today. I'd like to welcome, for the opening remarks, Advisory Board, Growing Businesses Foundation, Mr. Balaji Akiboro as he comes up to give us his opening remarks. Please a round of applause for him, please. No, we can make that round of applause bigger, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. MC. I want to start by welcoming everybody once more. Thank you for coming. And thank you for coming to solve a major problem in our society, in our community, that when we solve it properly, we're going to succeed. I want to thank our keynote speaker, members of RAN, members of the Recyclers Association of Lagos State, all the organizations that are here. Because of time, I will say the way we say in government, all protocol duly observed. The ECI initiative by the Green Business Foundation, we want to thank the Coca-Cola Foundation for supporting it. It was co-created, and it seeks to solve a simple problem and to achieve some goals that are very clear. And the problem is the problem of plastics in the environment. When you look on all the tables, you see bottles of plastics. But after we finish drinking the water, what do we do with it? You know, you discover that millions of events are taking place right now. And because plastics is not being disposed, repurposed, used properly, it creates problems in the environment. And that problem is what we are kind of here to solve. But not just to solve the problem, to do it in a way that creates work, that creates opportunities for women, for youths. Remember, when we take a look at our country, Nigeria, where we are today, almost 40% of young people are not working. When you look at women as a subset of that, the ratio with women that are not working, it's even much, much higher. So the question of plastic waste, it's very interesting. It's an opportunity or it's a problem that allows us to create opportunities. So that's one point I want you to get. What's our agenda? Within this ECI program, and I'll talk a bit about it, other people will talk a bit more about it. One of the things we want to do is to empower more than 3,000 women and many, many more other young people across the states in Nigeria by bringing them into this plastics ecosystem in various roles and in various capacities. When you take a look at the ecosystem as an ecosystem, and that's why we talk about a plasticonomy. A plasticonomy is actually an economic system built around plastics. When you look at that economic system, you begin to see that from the lowest level, you have the disposer. And at the highest level, you have the recycler. And then in between, you have all kinds of actors, aggregators, financiers, so many actors, logistics operators. Now, the ECI initiative allows us now to create that structure that makes the potential of this economy come out. And I'll give you an example. When you take a look at the problem of plastics waste in our country alone, it's in billions and billions of plastic bottles, it's in billions and billions of sachets. For example, those beautiful artwork you are seeing at the back, they are actually made of sachets. You know, when people take a sweet, when people take a drink, that's how they've put it together. So in the long run, what are we doing? In the long run, we are running this ECI initiative in a way that will reform this sector and will create lots and lots of opportunity. I'm a strong believer that the matter of plastic waste, and as we progress, you will see that we're no longer talking about plastic waste. We are talking about plastic wealth. We are talking about plastic potential. We are talking about plastic opportunity. I'm a believer that it deserves our attention. I'm honored to be part of this. I look forward to an insightful session. And then I want to thank all the partners, Recycle Points Limited, Green Hill Recycling, Recycle Gap, Fifth Seed Recycling, Green Axis, Hydrate, City Recyclers, Chanjadari, Trash Manager, Mental and Environmental Development Initiative, Waste Exchange. We're happy to have all of you here. It's going to be an enlightening day. It's going to be an interesting day. And in closing, I just want to close by saying thank you for taking the time to join us. Welcome to the launch of the Empowering Collectors Initiative. And then let's do this together. Let's solve this problem together. Thank you very much.
I like the bump to the fist. It says it's almost like the noun that we need, the action word. Yes. But now I'm scared. Please, another round of applause for him, please. I see Dr. Femi Idowu Adegoke, MD Lagra is here. Please, a round of applause for him. Thank you very much for coming. Some of our speakers, we have, as we already know, the founder, the CEO of GBF. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me give a resounding welcome to Dr. Ndidi Nolly Edosin. Please, a round of applause for her, please. No, please, a bigger round of applause. That's my guy right there. And I'd like for us to go straight into the business of the day, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time for us to take the keynote address. Please. And I want to say this very quickly. It is not every day when NGOs have some very grand idea, some very brilliant vision that they share with companies, multinationals, that they take it off the bat. Coca-Cola has come on board because they've seen the vision of what this initiative would do in empowering youth and women. And they jumped right into it. And that is how come we have the temerity to be here today. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, very quickly before I introduce our keynote address, the person who will be giving us the keynote address, please let's give a resounding round of applause to Coca-Cola, please. And with that, I'd like to welcome Mr. Alfred Olajide, the Vice President, Coca-Cola Nigeria. Please give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you so much, the MC. Unfortunately, my MD is unavoidably absent, and I'm here to represent him. So my names are Amaka Onyemelukwe. I know most of you in the room already know me. So standing on all existing protocols, I would like to say welcome to my distinguished collectors, recyclers, people from the government, and my valuable partners, the GBF team. I would like to say thank you so much. It gladdens my heart to see this very day, because it's been so much work in the background before we saw today. So for me, I bring everyone greetings from the Coca-Cola Foundation. Coca-Cola Foundation is the philanthropic arm of the Coca-Cola Company, but it's headquartered in Atlanta. So here in Nigeria, we are standing on their behalf to be able to unveil this project today. So today marks a significant landmark in our journey as Coca-Cola system here in Nigeria. And I'm indeed very humbled that all of you could find time to come and share with us at the launch of Empowering Collectors Initiative in collaboration with the Growing Business Foundation and Recyclers Association of Nigeria today. So earlier in the year, we launched an African-focused sustainability platform, which we called Jamin. And Jamin for us means community. It means connected to people. And this project sits within this strategy because our objective is how we can actually empower youths, more women, through PET waste recycling under that project. I'm very excited that this partnership is one that is very unique and close to my heart, because it's that project that actually transverses across the 6 political zones of the country. I know we have indeed received a lot of feedback that Lagos is not Nigeria, and I can tell you that this is one project that we have thought it very carefully so that we can ensure that it impacts across other sectors of the country. We all know that the human population increase and consistent demand of convenience and on-the-go lifestyle has contributed to the continuous increase of production of plastic packaging material, which generates a significant volume, definitely comes with its accompanying environmental pollution. And from available records, since 1950 till the last data that we have, 6.3 billion tons of plastic have been produced worldwide. And out of this, only 9% is recycled, and the 12% is actually incinerated. And this leaves us with an enormous challenge, especially for countries like ours, because of infrastructure deficits that we sit on. And this actually comes with its responsibilities for us to innovate and think of possible ways to find solutions. And for us, or for Nigeria in particular, Lagos, being a mega city, generates approximately 13 to 15 metric tons of waste per day. And a significant portion of this waste is plastic. And that is why we are here today, to seek solutions on how we can recover significant amounts of post-consumer waste, especially plastic, to drive a viable circular economy for Nigeria, which will in turn lead to job creation, cleaner city, and of course, drive our economy. At the Coca-Cola system, we are optimistic that collaboration is the way to go. And Growing Business Foundation has been a strategic partner, which in the next 24 months, we hope to deliver an approximate of $20 million annually to harness the Nigerian circular economy. On that note, we intend to achieve this by impacting people that are in the bottom of the pyramid, identifiable mostly women and youths, to actually give them more means of livelihood in terms of making sure that we increase their earning capacity, because this is one initiative that has an end-to-end process that both the people that are actually on the streets, informal sector, with the formalized sector, there is a technology arm that is going to connect everyone within the value chain. So at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the approximate or the adequate earning capacity or value to drive circular economy in Nigeria is achieved. To ensure the progress, we are going to be in very close contact with ECI to make sure that we monitor progress and be able to cross-correct as we move along. At the Coca-Cola Company, we have committed to recover a total of 100% of the post-consumer packaging we put in the market by the year 2030. And also by 2030, we aspire to ensure that our packaging is 50% of recycled content. And what this leaves for us is that not just only our company, we have also committed, or we have similar multinationals that have also taken this commitment. And this also leaves us that there's a viable circular economy business for Nigeria. And what we are here doing in this room is how we are going to make sure that we have a thriving sector to be able to tap into these opportunities that abound in our country. We believe that this investment will go a long way in stimulating the value chain to ensure that there is enough feedstock for everyone within this value chain, and also increase the earning capacity of both the informal sector and the formal sector while maintaining a sustainable environment. We also believe that this is going to drive opportunities for job creation, enhanced household incomes, innovation in the plastic value chain, drive the required behavioral change and advocacy for the creation of a sustainable plastic waste removal system in Nigeria. The Empowering Collectors Initiative would be active in the country's 6th geopolitical zone, notably Lagos, Oyo states, Abuja, Kaduna, Enugu, and Rivers states. And we believe that together we can actually make this happen. And I want to leave you with some words that is very close to my heart, or directly from my heart. As I look across the room, I know I have interacted with most of us here. And really, I want to say thank you so much for your continued drive for purposes of the environment. And at the Coca-Cola system, we want to commit that what we are doing here today, it's something that we want to partner with all of you, because we believe in that partnership. So the SDG 17, for us, is the way to go, because ours is a story of partnership. And we want to encourage everybody that, yes, we may not have touched on every state of the Federation, but this is just a journey. And we look forward to driving more journey with all of you to make the circular economy for Nigeria work. Thank you.
Another round of applause for her, please. Thank you. Thank you very much, Amaka. That was very poignant, especially when you realize the potential that is there in empowering people through this single initiative. It takes about 20 years for a plastic waste to deteriorate and go back to its form. About 20 years. So when you think of this initiative, you get to see the very, and if you look especially into the nook and crannies of the very suburban parts of Nigeria, and I'm sure you see it every day when you drive, all the improper waste that people dispose of, especially plastic waste, you realize that we're losing out on a gold mine that could actually be lifting a whole lot of youth and women out of poverty. Please, once more, another round of applause for Amaka. We have some of our panelists here, and it is only right for me to recognize them. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please help me put your hands together for Mr. Ibrahim Odumombi, who is now being represented by Kemi Sulaiman. She's here somewhere. Please, a round of applause for her. Thank you. And also Natalie Benish. She is the Executive Director, Circular Economy Innovation Partnership. Please, a round of applause for her. She's here, please. Taiwo Adewale, the Managing Director, Waste Exchange. Please, a round of applause. Mr. T. And also, Arese Lucia Onahise, the Executive Secretary, Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance, FBRA. A round of applause. Oduayo Soya, the Executive Secretary, Mtn Nigeria Foundation. A round of applause, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you've heard so much about the launch and why we're here and how great the importance of our gathering here is. Nothing will do more justice to the initiative than the thematic video that we're about to show to us all. Please, I'd like for us all to sit back and stay glued to the screen as we unveil the thematic video for the Empowering Collectors Initiative. Thank you.
It says that plastic pollution has created a 400-year problem globally. That is 16 generations. This is a staggering environmental problem. Plastic is everywhere. With a population of over 200 million people, Nigerians generate a massive plastic waste that pollutes our environment via its consumption. Clogged drainage systems, beaches, landfills that creates air pollutants when dumped. Most evident is when it rains and cities, towns becomes flooded with piles of plastics, thereby creating numerous health issues. We eat, drink, breathe plastic every day. In the last second alone, over 100,000 sales have been bagged in plastics. Plastic waste per head is estimated at 1 kilogram per annum, and that is resulting in 200,000 metric tons of plastic waste. Hey, it's not all gloom and doom, as several initiatives over the years have been designed to curb this scourge on our environment, but they fail to meet with the high demands of plastic waste generation. A nascent industry is developing in Nigeria around 3 main strands. 1. Recycling plastic waste for conversion to bottles for onward sales to the food and beverage industry. 2. Exporting the waste to large-scale recyclers in Europe and Asia. 3. There is a business opportunity imagined, especially predicated on EPR legislations around the circular economy for plastics. All of these beacons on newer initiatives that can improve and increase the efficiency and sustainability of waste plastic ecosystem, while opportunities for job creation, enhanced household incomes, and innovations strive. Enter Empowering Collectors Initiative, ECI, the most effective sustainability program yet. Designed by Growing Businesses Foundation under its 7 Pillars program funded by the Coca-Cola Foundation, an initiative geared to tackle heads-on the challenges of plastic waste generation in Nigeria. ECI will empower disposers, collectors, and aggregators in manner that will accelerate the collection of waste plastic. ECI closes all the gaps within the recycling processes through its data-driven, results-based approach to link all activities and stating clearly daily achievements of predefined tasks linked to the goal. The core objectives of ECI are to scale collections and micro-aggregation in 6 states across Nigeria by 1. Collection capacity intervention, that is, making plastic collection better and more efficient through liquidity injection into the ecosystem. 2. Processing capacity intervention, that is, making processing better by deploying infrastructure to increase processing capacity. 3. Logistic capacity intervention, that is, we are making micro-logistics better by organizing and deploying logistics infrastructure to transport plastics across the value chain. 4. Empower women and youths whilst increasing their income. 5. Outline how this transformation of the plastic waste economy in Nigeria will work in a sustainable way based on the triggering actions of the Coca-Cola Foundation. 6. Increase awareness around plastic waste and circular economy. 7. Increase and sustain the livelihood of women and youths involved in plastic collection and aggregation in the community by making wealth from plastic. The ECI will be implemented in 6 states covering the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria and is set to achieve these deliverables. 1. 25,000 metric tons plastic waste recovery target within the next 24 months. 2. Onboard 3,000 waste pickers and collectors. 3. Onboard 10 aggregators. We are leading the way towards a greater plastic waste sustainability ecosystem and a fast-forward thinking future for all stakeholders. Empowering Collectors Initiative.
Sir, Mr. Bolaji, sir, now having watched the video, I saw the reason for the face bump because it's a whole lot of work that needs to be done. Please, one more time, a round of applause, please. 25,000 metric tons in 24 months. That's a very big dream, and I know that with each and every one of us here, GBF will achieve this feat. Even probably before 24 months. If we believe, say, hey, no, the believers are not. If we all believe that we might actually even do that before 24 months, can the A's have it? Okay, please, a round of applause for yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, while this is really nice and we're all dressed up and we're here watching the video, having these conversations, it is nice to recognize the people who make a lot of whatever we have on ground now working. And pleased to do that, I'd like to first of all, welcome the ECI team as they make their way on stage. Please, a round of applause for them, please. The ECI team. The ECI team, please. Now, I want to see the swag. You have to work with the swag, please. You have to work with the swag. Fantastic. Please, a round of applause for them. Come on. Look at Maureen. Maureen knows what's up. That's what's up. We're going this way, please. This is the Empowering Collectors Initiative team. These are the guys and the beautiful people that will be interfacing with us all. These people they burn the candles day and night doing the great work. And in the next 24 months, this is the team that will be steered. This is more or less like the steering committee, the steering individual, the steering team that will be steering us all to greatness. Please, another round of applause for them, please. That's right. And I'd like to also welcome the collectors. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for the collectors. They are here somewhere. The collectors. Oh, please come forward. Please come forward. Please come forward. We want to appreciate the collectors. Their job is mostly sometimes unseen, but these are the real heroes in the recycling chain. These are the people who go out to do the work. Please, let's appreciate them. Please, a round of applause. Their job is not easy. I'd like for all the collectors on this side, please. Please, on this side. Please come over to this side. Please, this side, please. And as you can see, true to GBF's words, you see they comprise mostly of women. And that's the empowerment that we're talking about. Please, just looking at them, please give them another round of applause, please. I really want to appreciate them. They do this job in the most unfavorable weather and terrain, whether it's raining, night, day, they're out there, doing the Lord's work, as we would like to call it. After them come the aggregators, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to also bring up the aggregators if we have them here. Do we have the aggregators, please? Yes, we do. Please come forward. Please come forward. No, so they can be the aggregators can be in front then. They have to use the stage. Okay, please let them come up, please. Please come up. Thank you. Please come up. Please come up. Correct. The tags are making them look like delegates. Ignore that. There's no. Yeah. No, please don't mention money. Yeah, well, you can mention money back but this money back is different because they are creating wealth and doing the legit work. Okay. Very quickly, it is only right that I bring Dr. Indidi up here also, and also Mr. Balaji Akimboro and Samson. Samson, your name is not here. Samson is not here. Please this way, up the stairs, or in the middle here, please. Exactly. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is the team. This is the empowerment team. This is the future team, the futuristic team that will take us to empowering over 3,000 women and youth in the country in this plasticonomy terrain that we're going to. Yes,
we cannot do this without our regulators. Every single person on the panel.
Okay, have to come.
Is a critical stakeholder.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so Doctor wants me to bring up all our panelists because they're also our partners and they're stakeholders. So please, all our panelists, can you please join us? Kemi Sulaiman, representing Mr. Ibrahim. Okay, the company names, okay. The Corporate Affairs Sustainability Director, Nigerian Bottling Company. Yeah, that's it. No, she said names. Just the company names.
Don't worry, I'll do it.
Okay. Just the company names.
I'm doing the panel after this anyway, so I'm just going to jump in and say that it's so absolutely critical that all the people around the table who have come here to celebrate with us and to launch this with us are recognized. Starting, of course, with you, Amaka, Coca-Cola and the Coca-Cola Foundation, but of course also the Nigerian Bottling Company, which is the manufacturer of Coke locally. We cannot do this without our regulators. In Lagos State, that is LOMA and LASEPA, two of our partners around the table. And together with LOMA and LASEPA, we've created the Circular Lagos Working Group. And there are members here that are represented. I know the Honorable Commissioner Sam Egube is also going to come. I don't think he's here right now. For that reason, we were trying to delay the photos. LOMA is represented. Kemi, hi, nice to see you. LASEPA is represented. We also have the commissioner, not just commissioner for budget and planning, but also for the essay on technology and innovation, and also the essay on SDGs and investment. And as I stumble upon investment, we have a special guest today, and I'm actually going to do the following. I'm going to take off my shirt and lend it to him, because we're going to own him for a moment. And he is perhaps one of the most, and he's going to bless this event for us. Because you see, one thing is to, you'll go and wear it for him. One thing is to start an initiative. And thankfully, we received funding from the Coca-Cola Foundation to the Growing Businesses Foundation to initiate support for 10 aggregators. And our 10 aggregators are the first 10 aggregators. 9 of them are members of the Recyclers Association of Nigeria, RAN. One of them has come through a process that's sponsored by the Circular Economy Innovation Partnership as part of Circular Lagos, and through a process called the Circular Lagos Innovation Challenge and the Loop Lab, and that belongs to an association called LAGRA, Lagos Recyclers Association, and that entity is called Waste Exchange, and they're also here. So we have 10 aggregators, and those aggregators are going to be empowered not for themselves, but so that they have the capacity to collect and promptly pay for the plastics received. And so they have the capacity to collect, aggregate, process, and pass on to an off-taker who is repurposing and recycling. So you see, the value chain is huge. And you know that at the end of the day, we're moving towards bottle-to-bottle recycling, which is already in view. At the end of the day, our biggest beneficiaries, and I want to ask our collectors to put up their hands, because without our women, and without those who do the bulk and the crazy amount of work that's required in actually picking up the plastics from the environment, we will not have a cleaner environment. So great round of applause for Where My Heart Bleeds, for our collectors that are wearing yellow, bright yellow neon. It's you I'm celebrating on. It's not anybody else. And then at the top of the food chain, my shirt is going to, you know who it's going to, Dr. Suleiman. So this morning, we actually went to a meeting with one of the companies that grew up in Dotun's office. And he was one of the first investors in that office. Dotun is also here because he used to sit on the board of trustees of Growing Businesses Foundation. But at that time, we were not really ready to think scale and investment. Now he's come here today because he's saying, oh, really? Okay. I think that you have reached the point now where, you see that word there, scaling Nigeria's plasticonomy, is because we mean it. And when Mr. Bolaji stood up here and did this, with his fist into his hand, and as we call everybody around the table over here, no single person can do it alone. This is one of those things where you really have to bring the whole ecosystem together to make it work. And that's the panel discussion that's going to happen immediately after this. How? It's not enough to talk about it or to launch it. The question is the how. So we're calling Dotun up here because he's going to join us in this photo, because the company that was born in his office is now worth $1 billion. Now, we don't want to be, because you see we're a public good, we don't want to be worth $1 billion. We want everybody in the value chain to be worth multiples of millions of naira. That's where we're going. That's what we're building. To grow businesses that create public value and good for all. So what have we done so far? I think it's just worth mentioning. 1,000 metric tons has been collected by those around the table. Now, can somebody guess how many bottles is that? And then I'll end this little speech, and we'll take photos, and we can rest. How many bottles is 1,000 metric tons? How many plastic bottles? I'm going to turn it down and just pick on people. Madam, how many bottles is 1,000 metric tons? Okay, let's put the regulator on the spot. Kami.
What is about 1 million?
Okay, he says 1 million plastic bottles is 1,000 metric tons. Do you want to guess?
I think it should be more than 1 million.
How many do you think?
We should have up to 2 million because we produce a lot of plastics.
Okay, so 1,000 metric tons is 2 million plastic bottles. I need one last guess. One last guess, yes. 15 million.
15 million.
For 1,000 metric tons.
Depending on the size. That's 50
Depending on the weight
on the size.
50 million sounds like a lot, Sha.
No, I think it's about 50 kg to 50 plastics to 1 kg of the medium size, and then the 1.5 liter is the bigger one is about 35-45 to a kilo.
All right, so we are at, I am being told by the owners of this market, the aggregators, can you believe we've collected already 50 million plastic bottles? We've taken 50 million off the street. So, Mr. Dotun, please, can you join us? And Mr. Larry Tejosho, whose art is at the back of the room, who we've also spoken about, and who takes one or more of these different types of plastic and creates art out of it. I hope you had a chance to look at the room, look at the exhibition, and I hope you can join us here also for a photo. I'm just wondering who else I might not have mentioned. MTN, I hope, is on the stage already. Wonderful. You know, when we started, and I'll talk about that during the panel, there's a reason why you're here. All right, photo op. Is she here? Okay. In order to save time, can I ask my panelists to just stay back and take a seat on the hot seat?
Sit right away.
So I'm going to call up my panelists. Ekuma, Nigerian Bottling Company. Kemi from Loma. Natalie, CEIP. Taiwo, Waste Exchange. Arese from Fibra. Oduayo, Mtn Foundation. And Sylvia, who I didn't see on the stage, of the GBF Unilever Boost Partnership. Sylvia, I hope you were in the photo, and I hope you're here. I am going to look for a roaming microphone, if I can, so I'm not standing here so stationarily and boringly. And almost move this down, because whoever is sat here is not going to get visibility. I don't know whether we can move it down. I am going to stand. And so let me start with, we'll do a round of introductions, and actually let me just explain what this panel is going to be. Because essentially, you know, sometimes what happens is you come to fora and you end up with dialogue. And the point of this dialogue is to move from thought to action. That's the objective. And if you watch the video right at the beginning, there was a sustainable development goal that was emphasized. Can somebody tell me which one it was? Number 17. What does 17 stand for? Partnership. Can we do anything without partnership? And you see, the first partnership that's in the room right now is the partnership between the public sector, the private sector, and civil society. Have you noticed? And even on this panel, that's what it is, and that's what ECI is. And without any of those components, it's not going to work. Did you notice also that when we went up and we took the photos, on the one hand, there's the kind of investor that invests in billion-dollar companies, and then there's the kind of investor like me that invests in very small micro businesses, because that's my passion, and that's what the Growing Businesses Foundation does. That's why it was set up 23 years ago. There are intermediate investors like ECI, empowered by the Coca-Cola Foundation, that invest in SMEs, which is what the aggregators are, and also the collectors. We also have Mtn Foundation, and let me tell the story why Mtn Foundation is here, and then I'll hand over to you and we'll walk our way through. I don't know whether you remember, but almost 20 years ago, with the Mtn Foundation, guess what happened? We'll start with that story and we will end with the story. 10,000 women across 35 states were empowered. What were they empowered with? Mobile phones. And those mobile phones, they were empowered with them to do business. And even today, our collectors around the room, in order to buy and sell and decide where they will collect their plastics and where they will sell their plastics, what is going to be your most valuable tool? What is it going to be? A mobile phone. But you see, sometimes it takes 20 years to move from an idea, and at that time, if you go online somewhere, you'll see a program called Rural Telephone Project. It was a partnership between MTN, the business, Growing Businesses Foundation, the non-profit, and Nigerian Telecommunications Commission, the regulator. 20 years later, Coca-Cola shows up and says, hey, I want to solve a problem. And I want to solve the problem of plastics in the economy. And we're building on a model that has been grown in the interim, and then I jump to the end, with a Unilever that is actually working with women at the base of the pyramid to retail goods, products. And in 1 year, 4,000 women, guess how much they were able to sell in terms of products in very, very remote locations where there is nothing. Just one guess. Anybody? 10 million what? 10 million naira. 10 million is correct, but it was $10 million. 4,000 women in the most rural communities going door to door to door, selling what is needed in terms of health and nutrition products. 450,000 households. Now imagine if they were not just selling, but they were also collecting waste. Do you see the vision? This was the dream that the Coca-Cola Foundation stepped up and said, hey, we like this idea. It's been tested and tried over 20 years. Let's see whether we can step into it. And what's also beautiful, somebody said to me, Ndidi, this is a Coca-Cola program. Why are you talking about other companies? And I said, because Coca-Cola wants us to promote SDG number 17, partnership, because it's only in doing this together that we can achieve the kind of scale we require to grow Nigeria's plasticonomy. And that's the end of where I wanted to land and why we have a range of actors around the table. So I'm going to start with you, actually, Arese. I know I said I would start with Odu. But you represent a very important part of partnership. So I'm hoping that you can not just introduce yourself and FIBRA, but you can also speak to what this means to you and how you're moving towards scaling plasticonomy in Nigeria.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ndidi. And good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to be part of this very noble project, and I believe it's the way forward for Nigeria. So my name is Arese Lucia Onagise. I'm here representing the Food and Beverage Recycling Alliance, which is the producer responsibility organization for the food and beverage sector focused on post-consumer packaging waste. And then Coca-Cola as a company and as a brand represented by Nigerian Bottling Company is one of the founding partners of FBRA. And we're established in 2018, starting with 4 member companies: Coca-Cola, Nigerian Breweries, 7-Up, and Nestle. As of today, we have 23 members, of which Unilever is also a member of the alliance. And with 3 focus areas, where our major focus area is on collection and recovery, and how do we ensure that we can mop up the packaging material that in the environment that can be used for better value using the waste management value chain. And with that, we have been able to support the collection of over 19,000 metric tons. The next focus area is on policy drive, dialogue, and also to ensure that we work with international development partners, working with government entities, the Ministry of Environment, LOMA, and other entities across Nigeria.
Which is a great time to bring in, and I'm going to do this all through. I'm going to try and get a dialogue going. Yes. It's a great time to bring in Loma. Kemi, you're here for Ibrahim. If you notice behind you, can you see the Loma logo? So it is a very good sign when your regulator, and the regulator in Lagos State is Loma, says, excuse me, I'm backing you on this program, and I am told by people watching that there's no Loma logo. So I have pointed out, it's gone down for a second, that and my response was, we are very proud to be associated. You see, I was a regulator in my last life. I was the director of strategy at the NCC. And you see now that's the LASEPA logo, the Environmental Protection Agency. We're very proud to be working with regulators, because a regulator that cares about evolving an industry makes sure that the businesses in that industry grow. And so that's why our regulator is here. We just want to hear your own understanding of how big do you think this industry is? So we're here investing in plastics because we think there's prospect for growth. How big do you think this can go? How much does your regulatory scope believe that investment in this will thrive?
Thank you. Well, I will start by even just greeting everybody. My name is Kemi Sulaiman, representing the MD Loma, Mr. Ibrahim, who is not presently in the country. Well, as a regulator, to even start with, we see it as, initially people will tell you that the government has no business in business. But if you look at it, we don't need to fold our arms. Who's actually at the receiving end of all this plastic that we're talking about? That is the linear collection. It is the government. While the video clips was on, the effect of this plastic at Mushin about 3 years ago was shown here, where a whole street was submerged with flood, and then the whole place was carrying this thing. At the end of the day, it's government that actually survived it. Then, as a government, one thing we should do: one, to make enabling environment for that business to thrive, in which we've started. With HDC goals also to that, we cannot just do it alone. We need to engage stakeholders. That's why we partner with FIBRA, LAGRA, and all other NGOs. Then we also be enjoying sponsorship like from people like Coca-Cola Foundation to do some of those things. We don't just fold our arms to encourage all these aggregators, even participants at home. There is also an app that was launched sometimes in February that encourage tournaments, probably just take part in recycling, in picking up these bottles. What do we do then? You pick a bag full of these things and you are qualified online. And we have at the end of the day, we have 100 winners going home with 10,000 virtual cards. At the end of it, that initiative was actually sponsored by Heritage Bank then. Because we look at the opportunity in all these things, if we don't tap on it, it actually becomes an headache for us as a regulator.
So in other words, what you're saying is that the reason why the regulator is disengaged and also invites partnership is because you recognize that if this doesn't work, at the end of the day, government will also carry the burden.
Yes.
And it sounds like what you're saying is, look, we need to put in place incentives for people to get involved. And so I'd actually like to move to Natalie. Natalie, you are the head of the Circular Economy Innovation, and the last word is partnership. In fact, MD Waste Exchange became a member of ECI through the CEIP process and through Circular Lagos, which is run in collaboration with government. How important is growing businesses in terms of scaling the plasticonomy? And where are the gaps that you see at the moment where we need to do more?
Hello. Yeah, this is a great question indeed, and first, thanks so much for bringing us into this program. We're really excited about it as well. Yeah, I mean, I think from the first point, growing businesses in general and supporting the business environment is hugely important, and I think there's been a lot said about the waste value chain today, which I think is also really important. We're hearing quite a bit about the opportunity, the demand. There's a huge demand side right now, capacity being generated, investment for recycled plastic, especially kind of rPETs. But how that materializes from the collection standpoint, I was at an event yesterday where Arese was mentioning, really reminding everybody to be responsible consumers, to dispose of their waste properly. I think this is really important to talk about a business case at that collection standpoint when you have this diffuse material that's scattered everywhere. It really makes it hard for everybody and really hard to make it operationally efficient. So different segments of the value chain are really, really different in terms of the business model that works, in terms of how you can even integrate it. So I think it's really welcome that you have initiatives like this that are looking at across the value chain, are making the emphasis around collection as well. I don't know if I really answered your question, but I hope I did somewhat.
No, absolutely. So you've raised the very important question of the value chain, how critical it is actually to look at the different segments of the value chain. MD Waste Exchange, you're one of the key value chain players. And this program is really centered around aggregators and enabling aggregators and empowering aggregators. I don't know, would you like to say a little bit about how this program is impacting?
So what I wrote in 2008, because this was published in 2008 and I contributed a chapter towards that, and she was asking me that most of the issue raised then, that was 2014 years ago, and we are still discussing that today, which was part of what I contributed in the books. So coming to collection, and luckily I have 5 of our women there, they go from house to house, they go from area to area, and when you look at Oniru, it's a coastal community. This is the rainy season. Go to any drainage, what do you see there? Plastics. And even on my way down here, I saw a driver, after drinking, the guy threw away the bottle, and I was asking the man, why do you have to throw away the bottle? Do you know the response? If I don't throw away the bottle, how will Loma employ those women that sweep the road? So you can see people's mentality. Like if I don't throw away the bottles, the waste picker won't have anything to pick on the road. So first and foremost, we need to work on attitude. Then there's need to work on enlightening. And the other time I was telling somebody, I went to Loma, I saw the recycling bin that was donated by NURTW. But the same NURTW, none of their buses is having a single waste collection bag. So what is the essence of you giving the waste basket when you don't even know the use? And at the end of the day, I'm supporting recycling. I've donated 100 bins to Loma. But your members are not even making use of it. They don't even know what is recycling. All I know is I've contributed a bin to Loma. I'm supporting recycling, but they don't practice what they preach. So these are what we've seen in the industry. And a lot of, though we have some challenges also, whereby we have some off-taker going directly to the women, trying to cut off with the aggregator, trying to go to the women directly to buy, and which is not supposed to be, because when they register with Loma, when they register with the state government, we are coming as a big-time recycler. We want to convert PET bottle to producing PET, but now find out that they are going directly to the waste picker, going directly to the dump site to buy from them. Then where do we come in? And these are the informal sector. We are the formal sector. You have to pay for registration. You need to provide PPE.
Economy. One of the things that you talked to me about was how do we bring together partners and how do we actually begin to address, you see, I spoke to you about the opportunities, but you came to me with the problems. So what we need to do is we need to address the problems in an opportunity mindset. And that's the reason why we introduced Waste Exchange to this program within the ecosystem. So Oduayo, I was going to talk to you about that. Maybe just you introduce yourself and talk to us about your vision of encouraging dialogue within the ecosystem on circular economy.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. I think this is an extremely novel event, and it's something that, like you said, you talked about the word scale. It will change the horizon. It could change the horizon for us as a nation entirely. I think it's important to understand that even an African proverb says it: when you go alone, you go fast, but when you go with people, with others, you go far. And I think it's the far that we need. It's the far where almost everyone that we can get into the room. Not everybody will be an active participant, and there are different areas. There's the advocacy area, there's the action area there. You could create a value chain out of this ecosystem partnership want to build here. So I think the most important thing is getting everyone into a room to even understand, because you see, the understanding is also not very clear to people why we're talking about plastics. People, drive past the shores and they're not looking, like you said. People instead increase the numbers of the bottles. People don't understand that you can, yes, we don't have that means, but by yourself, you can separate your waste and, just take out the plastics and keep somewhere. So I think it is important, because if people understand, and if companies also understand that when we talk about sustainability, companies may think, oh, Coca-Cola will sponsor because, hey, they are big on plastics. But the truth is, when there's a flood, it will affect everybody. It's not going to affect only Coca-Cola. So I think the opportunities, bringing forward the opportunities for me is the partnership conversation. The opportunities for the individual in the community, the institutions within the community, the opportunities for government in terms of creating a new economy out of it. I think by the time we talk about it from the perspective of the opportunity, rather than it being a problem, it's easier to get more people in the room. You can get even an art curator into the room by the time they know that, look, that is art and it's changing the landscape. So I think putting the conversation is an ongoing dialogue. It's not going to end, but putting the conversation on the table from an opportunity point of view will help drive the partnership with Desire. And the fact that, education is key, because we're here talking today. I think our children need to, at that age, they need to also understand. So how do we drive it even into some form of curriculum for children, who are growing through? So,
and activities. Yeah. Odoayo, that's such a powerful point. Amaka, I'm actually jumping to you next. I have a question. But you jumped to the back of the room, namely art curation. And Larry Tejoshua, and you talked about education. And in fact, some of our education is not what you learn in the classroom, reading and writing. It's also what you do. So when we go out with collectors or when we're hands-on, it makes a difference. And Larry, if you can just stand up for a moment. What I really applauded Larry for was a few years ago when, before CEIP was born, before ECI was born, I called on artists to come into a school and work with young kids and help the kids realize that wrappers, waste can become value. And the person who showed up, and I asked 5 artists, the person who showed up and did it pro bono was Larry. And it's one of the things that I deeply, deeply admire him for. And in fact, he has told me, so I'm putting you guys on the spot, he's working on a piece with Coca-Cola covers, he's working on a piece with MTN bits, he's working on a piece with flour mills waste. And so maybe your vision one day will be, as part of that advocacy message, you'll have a little piece of art in the reception of all of these larger corporates as a symbol of action. I know you want to speak. I don't know whether you want to speak right now or whether I should jump to Amaka.
I probably just want to comment on the advocacy on the children now. As in Loma, identifying those kids as a game changer, there is a policy in the state now that's actually introduced waste management in all primary schools. We believe that by the time kids get home, they change adults a lot. Let them come from school. Mommy, our teacher said this. Nobody can change that thing in that house. It stays in that house. So identifying that, we've started, in Loma, we've introduced waste management in all public primary schools in the state. Also, we have Loma Academy, where we invite people within the community and even Stamina Republic. During the holidays, they come there and they work a lot of things with recycling that has been in place to handle it. Then lastly, Mr. Taiwo said something about the NURTW dumping distance. What we did with them.
I'm going to jump in and stop you because that's moving outside of education, but the point is underscored. Education matters at all levels. And I want to ask you a question, Amaka. My question was going to be, sorry to jump in, but why ECI? Of all the things that you could, why did you choose to invest in this? And the point is, you're not investing in GBF, because that money is really going through to aggregators and to collectors. So we're empowering 10 aggregators and empowering 3,000 collectors. What is really important, and you've been very carefully selected to be in this room, we wanted to keep it small, and we wanted every single person to have a reason to be here. This is just the beginning. Because much as 25,000 metric tons of waste, or 1,000 metric tons, which we've heard is 50 million bottles, can you see a difference on the road? When I come to you, Dotun, you're going to tell me about jogging in the morning in Ikoyi and what you're totally appalled by. So why, Amaka? What are you hoping to see from this?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ndudi. So the objective really is that, so let me go back as far back as 3 years ago when we started the advocacy drive to actually drive the behavioral change and create awareness, because it's obvious that in Nigeria recycling was not our culture. We discovered that, or when we started, so there was a lot of initiatives we invested in, bottles for book, cleanup initiatives, bottles for school fees, and the likes. It came to a point where the ecosystem have started to understand, because when you are walking on the street, you discover that people have started gathering the bottles. But then their major challenge was that they were able not to probably process it at scale or in the manner that actually allows them to sell it for a good value to the next off-taker. So during the listening sessions that we have had over the years, we discovered that the major problem also lies in equipping the small collectors that we have so that they will be able to scale. And the spark on how are we able to build more sustainable projects that at the expiry of such initiative, there is something long-lasting that would continue to remain. That's the sustainability of the projects. That's how we kind of felt that there's supposed to be an interface between the businesses and the civil societies, because while the projects would probably elapse at the end of the civil societies, there is need to build capacity that would ensure that whatever projects we are building outlives in the next 20 years or 30 years to come. So the main objective is, and now we then saw that the plastic economy for Nigeria has started opening up. The demand for feedstock was increasing. Therefore, we need the plastic to be collected at scale. And that's really what gave birth to what we are speaking to in this room today. So the whole idea is, how do we empower the civil society to be able to also translate some of this empowerment to businesses in a way that they build a capacity that creates jobs, collects feedstock at scale for everyone within the value chain.
How do we empower? And I'm looking at you, Sylvia, from the perspective of scaling. So you really oversee, one, a partnership, which is the GBF Boost Unilever, and 7,000 women at the base of the pyramid. Right now, we're going to be empowering 3,000 collectors. What are the 3 core areas where impact and scale will happen? I know you're doing a lot in terms of digitization and data.
Okay. Hello? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ndudi. It's good to be here. My name is Sylvia. I oversee the GBF Boost and Unilever Foundation partnership, rather. In this partnership, we have empowered about 7,000 women who sell Unilever products in semi-urban and rural areas. And they go door to door selling this. These women have been empowered over the years. Now some of them or most of them are financially stable. In this program, we plan to empower 3,000 women who will go door to door to pick up this plastic and ensure that it gets to the aggregator and then it's recycled or used for what it's planned to be done. We are going to do this in across 6 states. And we hope that in the months or years to come, we will expand this from 3,000 to 7,000. And also as the number of these women continue to grow, we plan to move them from 7,000 to 10,000. So there's a lot to be done, you know, growing from 3,000 to 7,000 to 10,000 across the country, which will enable us to meet the 25,000 metric ton target. You want to say something?
I think what you're also linking on is the prospect that this can be used to scale the women's businesses. I picked up on the word that you said, stable businesses. This is from the past experience of stable businesses. And Dotto, I'd like to jump to you right away and ask you. So as an investor, I think one of the things that you've always talked about is the scourge and the challenge of plastics. Now, are you hearing an investment opportunity in plastics or in what we call the plasticonomy?
And I won't say I've heard it, but there is a problem. And the flip side of the problem is an opportunity. I've always seen it. I live in Ikoyi. Ikoyi, by all definitions, is the most expensive real estate in Nigeria, and yet is filthy by my own standard. I go walking on weekends and so on, and you look in the drains, and all you see is empty bottles. Everywhere, the drains are clogged up with empty bottles. And I ask myself, how are we going to solve this problem? There are 2 sides to it. Number one is the habit of people not disposing of refuse or waste properly. Okay, that is one problem that needs to be fixed. Again, before I even go out of that, I just came back from Kigali in Rwanda. Rwanda is a country of 13 million people. So Kigali is probably maybe half of the population of the country. So it's a big metropolis, big city. You will not see a scrap of paper. I did not see a scrap of paper on the street, not one scrap. We're not talking about refuse dumps. We're talking about paper on the streets, not empty bottles and so on. So we have a problem in Nigeria. It's a problem of habit, of people disposing of their waste properly and all that. So we've got to solve that. And now I haven't heard anything about that. I don't think this initiative is directed in that to that problem. But the problem is that we have a problem of plastics on the road, plastic everywhere. We're inundated by plastics, and if care is not taken, someday we'll all be buried under plastic. The problem needs to be solved. And therein lies the opportunities. I've always asked myself, what can we do, to take this, get this plastic out of the environment, have them recycled, and so on. And there's an opportunity there. So for me, if I see a plastic bottle on the road, what I see is money that needs to be made. Somebody needs to collect, those plastic bottles. Somebody needs to, aggregate them. Somebody needs to recycle them, and so on. For me, it's always been about how to do it, who would do it. Now, of course, in my head as an investor, and based on where I am now, I think I'm too old to initiate the process. But what I would do, what I've committed to doing, is that if any initiative comes along that is aimed at solving that problem, to the extent that it requires capital and requires some managerial expertise and so on, which is basically my own forte and so on, I will support that effort. Now, how did I find myself here this afternoon? Honestly, if the photograph you guys took this afternoon appears in the paper, somebody will be wondering, what's Dr. doing here, you know? But it was not in my plan at all. I never thought I would be here. They came to see me with Bolaji over a completely different matter. He introduced Bolaji to me and just talked about Bolaji and recycling and so on. Just asked Bolaji to give me an elevator pitch on what he's trying to do. And he told me about this plastics issue. I just remember that I'd be looking for somebody who will solve that problem and create an opportunity, for us to put money and management expertise behind solving the problem. That's basically what I'm here. There is a problem, it's a huge problem. It's also a huge opportunity. Now, whether it's easy or not easy to do, I don't know, but I can tell you from you to I know that things like that don't come easy, but it can be done. But more than that, the fact that it can be done, it needs to be done. There is a problem that we need to tackle.
So in other words, it is an investment opportunity. That's what I'm hearing in the room. I know that we have a few goodwill messages in the room, and I'm going to ask that goodwill messages, that this be the table for goodwill messages. So if you're in the room and I can't see you, please come forward so that I've got you in view. Now, I want to come back to the panel, and I want to do our second round. One of the things about today is, I don't know whether you've noticed, but we're well in time. In fact, we're way ahead of time, because the attention and intention is to ensure that we keep this crisp, to the point, and free you to have a nice meal, and collaborate and partner and dialogue towards an end. Now, the question now is the how. So we've gone across the panel, and one of the things we've heard is there are different initiatives, there are problems, there are opportunities, there are already partnerships, there's dialogue ongoing, and there is a generic willingness to invest. Is that right? We have people in the room. Nicholas, if you saw him, he was the tallest in the crew. He likes doing nice value chain diagrams in terms of, okay, this is how we get from point A to point Z. Maureen is a creative person in the room. You also saw her come up as part of the ECI team. How do we visualize what it is we want to do? How do we make it visual? How do we make it real? How do we bring people together? Jalili, if I think about him, he thinks about how do we finance this and how do we make sure that we're saving resources as much as we can, because if we're not cost effective and cost efficient, we're not going to get there. Samson looks at it from a bird's eye point of view and he says, right, how do all the different pieces of this puzzle stick together? How do they all come together? And that's why I'm coming back again to the table. I know that you're burning to say something else. Kemi, I can see it in your eyes. But I'm going to start with you, Oduayo. So, technology and telecommunications and data and advocacy and education and dialogue. What are we going to do? What are you doing specifically? And how does it fit into this big picture? How do we move closer towards partnership that is in action?
Thank you, Dr. Ndidi. For MTN, of course, Mtn Foundation is MTN's CSR vehicle. And what we've begun to do, because I must tell you, it's not like we've really focused on we focused on the economy, but maybe not plastic. We haven't taken plastics. But what we have in the pipeline is we recognize that a set of people that can actually take us there, and I see it here today, are women. And so we are partnering with the Bank of Industry, and we're creating a fund for about 100 women. This is the first time we're going to do it. So, you know, it's good to start small and then you scale it. And and we've selected the types of businesses we want to invest in. They're going to be trained. About 500 of them will be trained for 5 weeks, and part of the curriculum will be, you know, the environment, how do we take care of our environment? Ruth will definitely cover waste. You know, how do you see wealth in waste? But at the end of it all, we're going to have about 100 women who we will be investing in their businesses. And one critical business type we'll be investing in is the circular economy type of business. You know, before people would do trade, people would do all of that, but we recognized that we needed to focus on that. So it's about circular economy, it's about agri technology and all of that. So that's one of the things that we're going into doing, and I think the call for applications should open next week together, you know, with a Bank of Industry. However, I find that, you know, technology is key to driving the scale of what we're talking about, you know, today. And for us at MTN is about, you know, how can we enable the entire ecosystem to move forward using technology, knowing that, you know, you can gain momentum with technology. Then, so that's what I'll say about technology, the use of data, applications, and maybe even the ability of companies to create like a gamification, because you've talked about incentives, and I think gamification is a way to drive this, such that even within our homes, you know, we're counting and we're checking on the numbers that we're disposing properly. And then I think the last thing, because I know my time is up, is education. So we do have a platform where we enable young ones, 15 years old and down, to access educational content free of charge. And I think the call is to experts in this field that we need to begin to create content such that we can push it out to these younger ones, not necessarily in school, but the platforms that they are signed onto, we can make, because they get those, once you're signed onto, I think the MPulse, you get, the access is free. And so they can download and begin to understand. And when a child reads,
I'm going to jump in there. I'm going to jump in because we're veering towards education, which is very important. But I'm also thinking at the back of the room, because one of the things that I think is really important is those who do the work behind the scenes, you actually also need to hear their voices. And what popped into my head was Ayo flying up to Abuja when we were working on creating this vision and documenting the vision in order to, and I think this is a word of encouragement to the room. There was an idea, and it was born in GBF. And then there was a conversation with Coca-Cola and with RAN. And then there was a person, Ayo, flying up to Abuja, sitting with Samson and Bolaji and I, and fleshing out under pressure a document that went through a whole string of scrutiny to ensure that many people, or as many people as possible, benefit. And some of these voices stay behind the scenes, and so I'm going to call on a few of them, including Ayo, who I'm talking about at the moment, and Oba, who joined most recently and bridges CEIP and GBF, as I turn to you to say, women. So Odumayo said, women are really important as a piece of this puzzle. And we talked about actually empowering, not you, because a lot of the programs you talked about, Taiwo, were your problems. What about the problems of the women actually at the base of the pyramid? And how do we make sure that we bridge that gap between what the aggregator needs and what the collectors at the base of the pyramid need? So one of the things I know that is built into the ECI program are protective gear. Another is the mechanism whereby you're given working capital so that those who bring plastics to you are paid, and are paid instantly. Again, these are also things where technology helps, also in terms of transparency and accountability. So can you speak to that very briefly?
Okay, thank you very much. On our record, we have about 45, we have about 50 registered people, and about 45 of them are women. Those who are the collectors and most of the people that bring these materials to us, most of them are women. And like I said, we set up this as a community project, and one of the first things they told us is women empowerment. If we are going to empower anybody or anybody working with us, there have to be women. So most of the people working with us are women. The collectors are women. Even the sorters are women. Most of our admin staff are women. Then if you look at the board of Waste Exchange, the founder and the co-founder are also women. So we work mostly with women. Now, when it comes to the PPE, you find out that most of them even tell you, why are you not putting on your hand glove? Most of them tell you, if I have to put on the hand glove, it slows them down. So most of them prefer something that makes them faster. But what we try to do is to make sure most of the PPE they are using are flexible, they can easily use them, because there are some kind of hand glove, they tell you, you see most of them, why are you using your hand to pick? They tell you, when I use my hand to pick, I can pick faster, I can get more than when I'm using PP. But what we try to do is we make sure we provide them with PP, because we need to make sure we differentiate them. Because recently now, about some weeks ago, Loma clamped down on some cart pushers. And among some of these women, we have some of them too that use this cart. So we need to differentiate them, the informal sector and the informal sector. So what we tried to do was to formalize them. These are the women working with us. We need to get them registered. They're registered. They have ID card. They have something to differentiate them. So, but like I said, we have more women in this industry. And like you can see, most of those people that came out from us, most of these women, they tried whatever they get. For instance, we pay them 16 naira per kg. So on daily basis, some of them bring about 20 kg, 30 kg, 40 kg.
So the women are an extension of your value chain.
Exactly.
And their success is your success.
Exactly. In fact,
and that's the way that you run.
Exactly. So, like on Saturday night, we did the cleanup of Oniru Beach and the Good Beach. We were able to recover about 300 kg of plastic. It was these same women that did the garden, and a lot of people started showing interest in that.
I think that's an excellent example of how businesses grow and how the environment is cleaned up at the same time. And the big question, next big question, is the large companies, the members of FIBRA, who are actually, one would argue, Loma will say to you, you're the generators of the waste. And therefore have, and that's the reason why you're here, because not just do you want to be labeled as, well, the waste comes from large companies, you've also come together in order to address the challenge of plastics and packaging that ends up in the wastelands. Would you like to say, from your end, the big companies, to the aggregators who have now said they have a commitment to the smaller companies, you have said, well, technology and also providing access to capital to the smallest businesses helps to build that value chain coming up. So I'm now at the large companies in particular. I'm going to call on you for development finance. Coca-Cola Foundation. So we're at the big corporates.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the question. So as FIBRA having 23 members that have these companies from the food and beverage sector, contribute as part of the EPR responsibility to ensure that we can empower the value chain. What this project does is it provides a proof of concept. So this is an initiative, and there's a plan of how much can be collected. For example, in 2 years, you can collect 25,000. That can be used as a proof of concept for initiatives that other members in FBRA can also take on as a project. The second one is it also helps to develop the value chain. One of the aims of the FBRA and our members is to help to develop the value chain. So in the last 4 years we have been existing, but I've been able to identify the challenges, some of the challenges Taiwo spoke about, because each member or each player in the value chain has a different challenge. And then how can we bridge that gap? So this project can also help us to identify those areas where that needs intervention, and then FIBRA members, through their contribution, can also intercept. Then the third one is it provides an investment opportunity. This project now is starting with 10 aggregators and 3,000 collectors, mostly informal. At the end of the 2 years, it will be able to develop the scale of the 10 aggregators. It will also develop the informal sector, the collectors, the women we saw today. Some of them will also become aggregators in their own communities. With that, we can also scale up and identify projects in other areas that are not covered by this project. And then FIBRA can now intervene and then sponsor to help to contribute. Because the main thing is, this is meant to be a Nigerian thing, and we're meant to spread it across the different states. But of course, ECI project might not be able to do that alone. So we need other investors to come in, and we are also talking to other development partners that want to come and partner with FIBRA to identify areas where they need to step in and put in more investment. So this is an opportunity for FIBRA members to also put in their own quota to ensure that this is scaled up, and then we can also have a cleaner environment. Thank you.
I think that's a good vision. What do you think? If you think it, can I hear noise? Okay, because we're talking about scaling something that is working in partnership. And right now there's an informal partnership. So if you look at 10,000 women from MTN became 7,000 women under the Unilever program, are becoming 3,000 collectors, and if we listen to what you're saying, the multiplier effect of 23 large companies, 10 aggregators, 3,000 collectors, times 10, times 10, times 10, times 10. Somebody say amen. Amen. It's not a church, sorry.
Because also, sorry, currently we're working with about 12 formal collectors, and so we can scale that up because we have a 5-year plan on how to scale up and working with others in different locations. So this is also an opportunity for us to also learn from the process of this ECI project, and then we can also help to scale up.
So we're talking about the how. That's why we're going through this round now. And then we'll have one last round, and I just ask you, I know I'm still coming here, to say one thing that you wish for ECI. And I'll pick on 2 audience members as well. So, Amaka, actually I'm going to skip you for a minute and come back to you. You're sitting on the middle chair. It's supposed to be my chair, so we can skip her for a moment and come back to her at the end. Regulator. If we don't put the right policies in place, and if we don't encourage partnership, and we create an equitable landscape where everybody can play, not just some, but all, we're not going to make progress. So what would you say are the things that are being put in place right now by LOMA to ensure that our numbers of 3,010 and 23 become a multiplier of times 10, times 10, times 10?
Thank you. The incentive given to all the players, right from the recyclers, aggregators, and up to collectors. Then even tournaments at home. Like I said it earlier on, that the tournament, we encourage them to log on the app to sort their waste from home. If you sort your waste and you separate plastic from all that waste, you pay less to the PSP. That's an incentive. Also, too, you at the end of the month, by the time you sort your waste and you register on that app, they come to pick it, you are qualified to win 10,000. We have 100 winners every month.
So you're talking about the consumer now?
Consumer now. First.
So in other words,
then also we also have the collectors too. We at Loma now, we engage people to partner with them, whereby we are making carts. Motorized cart, that is instead of tricycle, that people will drive instead of those pushing that we get to collect all this. That and on the side of the aggregators, we encourage them. That we started in January too, whereby we give them monetary value to subsidize what they are doing. If you are a registered Lagra member, and I can tell you for free, for about 4 or 5 months, they collect over 100,000 to cushion what they are doing. And even the recycler too. If you come with the new plan that you are a recycler, then if it's going to be our own equity, it's going to be able to get a sizable land and an ability for you to do. We'll do that for you. And then the amount of levies that comes to you is being minimized because you know you are contributing your own this thing. Our own way forward that we feel that probably you should look into now. Now we are here. Let us identify all these communities. Let's have collector centers in each communities. When these people sort, where are they taking it to? We do have that problem too. That we don't have some local government, we don't see have collector points, we don't have recycler in that areas, we don't have graders in those areas. Let us ensure that at least in all the local government and the SCDA, it's going to all those things. Let us have at least one, so that when we have all those things, we will go there. One, lastly, we've probably just enforced, intensified on enforcement. What we do is on two phases. If you are caught while throwing all these things, you'll be apprehended, and there is a mobile court whereby you do community sentence. They put on uniform for you. Whereas probably you just try to escape and your number is being picked up, we go to MVA, that's Motor Vehicle Administration, get your vehicle and probably just send a ticket to you that you've already defined the environment. So those are the things that we put in place to actually just make sure that at least we achieve this, and I don't have a very good aesthetic environment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there are a number of initiatives that you've put in place. Some are incentives, some are fines. A lot of it is focused on the consumer.
Yes.
And really on the environment. And what I thought was interesting that you said as well is you want to plug the gap of collection centers.
Yes.
That is, when the plastics are collected, where do they go? And how do we solve that problem? And Natalie, I'd like to speak a little bit about, so the innovation challenge. So the Growing Businesses Foundation and ECI collaborated with CEIP to make sure that we're actually building a journey from an innovation challenge, which was problem solving, to a space where through the Loop Lab, which you're a member of, you actually move into the ECI program where you gain access to capital and this kind of platform to scale. What about his challenge that he's just raised in terms of collection centers? Can you perhaps map that journey and give us an idea of how would we solve that problem? And on the other hand, the power of circular Lagos, which is where our goodwill speeches come from, of collaborative government to actually work together with the private sector to solve problems.
Thank you. Hello. First, that was really inspirational. To hear about your agenda. It's really, really impressive and exciting, and I think well noted around identifying these kind of gaps that you have in communities. From the perspective, maybe just for anyone who doesn't know what Circular Economy Innovation Partnership does, we do a lot of program facilitation. First, we do research, we do advocacy, we do program facilitation. That's all to do with supporting circular business an investment opportunity in Lagos. So we're only one small piece of the puzzle in addressing this challenge around developing the capacity to improve collection, to scale collection. We have a number of aggregators and collectors in the room who I think can answer this question as well. But I have to say we're always a willing partner on this journey. If there's willing participants to allow space, to enable space, we are here to support in terms of creating the space to support the business development side of the coin and make sure that any capacity that comes on has all the tools that they need to run an effective organization in partnership with I guess all those who are in the room. Yeah.
I think CEIP has done incredible work in terms of convening the public sector. Again, case study both from LOMA and from CEIP in Lagos State, in terms of convening, creating convening power for the public sector, various tiers of the public sector to align on an agenda, but also to come all the way through from thought, which is where we ended up, to action. And Waste Exchange, you're a living testimony to that journey. So congratulations ECI and congratulations GBF also for collaborating for positive impact. Dotu, from a simple perspective of getting angels. So angel investing is when people decide they will use their individual money and they will take the risk in investing in a business opportunity that also has potential social impact. Dotu, you've done a lot of those kinds of investments. And if there is anything that is a burning investment in Nigeria today, it's to solve this problem of waste and plastics, because it's making us unhealthy, it's destroying our environment, we need to solve it. So how do we do that? How do we get angels around the table, this table, given that the value chain and the problem is so big? How do we move out of this room and know we have a plan? If anybody can answer that question, you can.
I can answer it, but clearly, like I said at the beginning, there's a problem, there's an opportunity. I think there's a lot of investment capital that is waiting, to put money behind the effort. I can speak for myself, for example. If I see a credible opportunity, a business plan that says I'm going to take the products off the street and convert those waste to some kind of bankable whatever, I'll not only put money behind it, we can rally the capital that is required to do it. But the thing to bear in mind are two things. Number one is that for it to be sustainable, chances, my guess is that it's got to be private capital, not NGO, not charity, not government. Secondly, for it to be of interest, it's got to be at scale, or at least scalable. Because I don't imagine that the technology exists for you to do it on a micro basis. The economies will come when you have a large, say, recycling plant and so on, and then you have the feeder infrastructure, all the downstream activity of collecting, aggregating, semi-processing before it comes to the what we might call the recycling plant and so on. So the need is there. And I think one of the things we should also do to make it bankable, because I know a lot of the waste that is collected now is shipped abroad. There's a lot of it shipping abroad and so on. It might come to a point where we might use policy to make sure that if you invest in a recycling plant in Nigeria at scale, that you can get a feedstock to do it. Because sometimes we think we have a large problem because we see all these bottles all over the place, and you put up a plant, and the plant consumes these things, like that, and before you know it, you are short of inputs. Yeah. So for me, that's the challenge, to make sure, we have a scalable business that, that takes over from where you guys are now, and does it on a sustainable basis. But at the end of the day, I think the long-term solution has to be commercial, not philanthropic.
Okay, but now, right now, we're at the point where no investor is willing to invest. And it's not a business that is investable. So it's a good time actually to call on Amaka because it's not a viable business, because everybody in that industry is struggling, and because it is so hard and so necessary and critical, this became something that you were willing to take a leap on as the Coca-Cola Foundation, responding to what the Growing Businesses Foundation put on the table to say, somebody has got to start. And somebody has got to start in such a manner that it brings everybody in the ecosystem together with the potential to make this thing so interesting that it can scale and people can invest in. So, Amaka, how do we make that leap? Because it's a while yet before real investors bring their money and put it on the table. It's not going to happen for some time. So we have to run this iteration. We need to put in our very best. And then we need to run another iteration. But every single time, the businesses on the table have got to become, the aggregators especially, better and better and better at doing what they do from a business perspective. Do you agree with that? And what are your thoughts?
Perfectly. So, like I said before, so we came from a point where there's a gap. No investor is willing to play. Like, it took us so many number of years to get people to invest in recycling plants. And that is why the Coca-Cola Foundation, so I keep explaining the difference between the Coca-Cola company, which is the company side of things, and the foundation. The foundation is the philanthropic arm. That is why, the GBF is here. We have so many programs that they are actually putting money on to actually ginger the ecosystem so that businesses can erupt and thrive. Therefore, for people that are in this value chain, we believe it's a viable business. We are present in over 200 countries around the world. South Africa, it's lucrative. In Europe, in America, recycling is a viable business. So we believe in it. We have to develop it to the point that it becomes exciting. And I can say that we are almost there in Nigeria. Because over the last 24 months, we have seen significant improvements in terms of people willing to buy the feedstock at a good price, or relatively okay price, let me not say a good price. But then we need to actually ensure that everyone within that value chain benefits. Because it's when we are able to break that barrier that it will stop clogging our drainages. And really, so where we are now and what we are doing here is to actually ginger that whole ecosystem. And we believe that once that ecosystem matures, investors are already coming in. They are willing to pay a price, a fee for the feedstock. Therefore, it's actually a rolling mechanism because it's a pull and push effect. And that is where investors will put in money. The whole issue on climate action is around there. Circular economy is the way to go because whether we like it or not, we just have to make it work for Nigeria. And that's where I actually challenge businesses in this room to stop thinking about philanthropy. The investor has said it. It has to be a viable business for you to attract investors. Because if you keep making it like, oh, we're doing philanthropy, it will not work. It will never work. So the economist has to work. And when the economists work, the business side of things would also, because we are there as the end of take at the end of the day. Remember, we have a 50% recycled content, meaning that we are going to, 50% of our packaging that is virgin materials today will move to recycling content. And that is a ready business already for whoever actually produces the resin for recycled content. So the economists we understand is there, and that is where we are actually trying to ginger more investment. In some countries, Coca-Cola will invest directly. In Nigeria, we are still not in that space where we are going to invest directly, but we are making sure that whether it's from the government angle to build the policies that would make sure that investors come, and which we've started seeing. And I'm sure that with what we are doing here in this room, in terms of making sure that we build that capacity, so that when the prices or when the economy works, everybody in this room is going to tap into that opportunity and will not leave it on the table or treat recycling as philanthropy, because it is not philanthropy.
Amaka, it's very important that you say this, because we're constantly dancing that fine line between the philanthropy side and investing in the things that nobody wants to invest in to build the ecosystem, and yet bearing in mind, and sometimes at GBF we get beaten up for this, and we've gotten beaten up for this in the Niger Delta, we've gotten beaten up for this across Nigeria in the 931 communities that we do the Unilever project, and we sometimes get beaten up for this on this program where we say, no, this must be run for a business, because the fact that you're called NGO or non-profit does not mean you should not make a net surplus. Because if you're running a non-profit operation on the basis that you feel you can run losses, what's going to happen to you? You're going to disappear. So this year, GBF is 23 years old, and I can tell you, Coca-Cola Foundation gave us the first grant last year. We've never received, and it took 23 years to get funding from you. Yes, GBF has been funded by the Mtn Foundation in the past, but it's not a commitment. So you had a 10-year window, and that 10-year window ended. We have a program, and I won't mention what the program is, that at the moment to deploy it, we have 270 staff. Right now, we're fighting for the jobs of 140 of those. And how will we solve it? Because funding has dwindled, but we cannot let people go. So we're going to increase the capacity of each and every single one of those workers so that they're doing more in order to keep their job and enhance their impact. So you see, the non-profit world is work. And a lot of that work is work that you're doing actually from your heart and from your soul. And the reason why I've gathered this little group around Sylvia and her last question is because every single one of them is, if you're looking at partnership, within this group here, there's a partnership of maybe, I don't know, 5 different heads in each person and on each person's shoulders in order to make this happen. And you're constantly having to jump between what is the aggregator need, what is the collector need, what is the corporate need, what is the regulator need, what about the companies that we're partnering with, what do the partners need? And without that collaboration among all of you here, there would be no ECI. So I know that some of you hiding behind that board, I can think of Jalili who never wants to show up when you pull him forward, but part of what I wanted to just say a thank you for is just to give an applause for those who are behind the scenes, including our collectors and our aggregators who very often you don't see. Because if they're not slugging it off every single day, there would be no ECI. And we're just at the beginning of this journey. So the question I want to, thank you very much for coming forward. The question I want to ask to you, Sylvia, before we do the last round, and the last round is going to be after I take 1 or 2 comments or questions from the floor, is at the same time, you know, 23 years ago when we started GBF, the vision was, if we deliver things to the villages, what can we bring back? You know how in the very remote locations, actually, people are making things, and they actually need to find a method to come to the center, which is where there's markets. And we always thought that there would be a way of taking the things out and bringing things back. If you had asked me 23 years ago, what is the good that we will take from the villages to bring to the center that will make those remote locations make money, I would never have thought it would be waste. But you know what it is? It is waste. Because that same waste and that same plastics is a one generic homogeneous item that has value. So my question to you really is, so right now what we do is we take goods to the base of the pyramid across 1,000 communities, 7,000 women, and scaling. How realistic is this idea that waste becomes the homogeneous product, that for the women who are currently selling goods door to door, that they can actually make an incremental income by collecting waste and cleaning the environment? How real is that? How realistic is it? And what do we need to do to make it happen?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ndidi. Every home generates waste. So in the rural areas, you would see sachets, pure water sachet, the polythene bag that women take to shopping, and also bottled water. And so when these women, the women that we work with, the 3,000 women go to these homes to sell their products, by collecting this waste, we are also expanding their basket. So today, we have partnership with Unilever. And in line with what Amaka said, we need to expand the basket size of what these women sell to sustain, to grow the economy of these women, and also to sustain the program. So waste will be one of the products that will form the expansion, the basket size expansion, where these women will, when they go to the homes, they incentivize the homes to collect the waste and get paid for this. And this also improves their profit or their profit margin. One of the other things that I see is that these 3,000 women can also be incentivized by Coca-Cola, by organizations, or by the government to educate the homes on how to separate the waste. So this could also be one of the methods to advocacy. And then these women can be incentivized if they give out flyers, if they give out any tool that aims to educate the community. So, Dr. Ndidi, waste will be one of the basket size expansion methodologies that we'll use in growing the profit of these women. Thank you.
I'm moderating. Okay, sorry, the Honorable Commissioner for Budgets and Planning is on his way. He's on the phone, I apologize. And that's what he called to say. So we're dragging this because we want him to arrive before we close. So, Uncle Sam, we're waiting for you. We have one last round, and that is just, what is the wish that you have for ECI? And it's just one sentence. But while you're thinking about that, and before we come back to you for that one sentence, I want to ask in the room if there is a burning comment or question that there is in here. And if there is none, any hands raised? If there is none, you're making a goodwill statement. So would you like to wrap it into your goodwill remark, or would you like to make a comment now? Okay. So we have 3 goodwill remarks on the table, and one of our goodwill speakers, who is representing the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, is contributing one of our 2 comments. Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. A big thank you again to all the panelists and for all your great remarks so far. I just wanted to ask, what kind of things do you think we can do to further incentivize people to become collectors? Because often the waste industry sometimes has a negative connotation, or people aren't incentivized to join. So as partners or as industries, how can we incentivize more and more, or make them aware of the opportunity in the plastic economy?
Okay, so advocacy and awareness is the one question. And I have one more question. And by the way, I want to recognize one more person. You know, very often we recognize, and we're going to recognize very soon, the Honorable Commissioner for Budgets and Planning when he comes into the room, and we're all used to that. I'd like to actually ask one person who's very dear to GBF's heart, and who has been with GBF for the last 22 years, to stand up so we can just honor you. Jerome. He joined Growing Businesses Foundation from the Ministry of Justice, and I think these days, to have people that stay with an organization for 22 years is quite a bit, huh? So it also says, you know, ECI, may it live 22, 23 years and beyond. Your question.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. So I'm part of the circular challenge for Lagos. And so I'm going to ask the question to MTN, then maybe direct one to Coca-Cola, which they can help us do. I think it's about value now. So what I'm sure Coca-Cola can help us there, whereby for recycling to really go strong in Nigeria, I think we need to attach a value to the plastics after it's been drank, so that people can know. And this is what the big brands can do in the adverts all over the country. Tell them when you finish your bottle of Coke, you get a 1 naira or a 2 naira. And I think that advert will go around the country without one, because we can't actually achieve more if people don't change attitude. And that's what media can do for us anywhere, anytime, anyway. Then for MTN, MTN is the largest network in Nigeria. So I think MTN can also help us, because now we have tech companies coming up now to scale those solutions now. How can MTN help us now, those guys in the tech sector, to help us scale using technology? Because number one, we need the SMS code now. Can we have a national SMS code for waste management that can say, with an SMS code on my smartphone, I can get it directly to where I can drop my waste or a collector in my community, which MTN can do for us.
So you see there's suggestions coming from the floor, a very engaged room. I also have a question from online, which says, how can people in other areas that are not under focus participate in this initiative? That's question number 3. Now, I'm not sure we can have comprehensive answers to any of these. I think that if you can weave them into your ECI, this is what I wish for you as an initiative, in terms of advocacy, in terms of technology, in terms of expanding to other locations, that would be great. And I'm just going to start from this end and ask that all of my panelists make a sentence, maximum 2, that essentially expresses its wish, their wish for ECI, perhaps even a prayer for this initiative that is being launched today. And I will start with you, Sylvia.
So I wish for ECI to become very sustainable in terms of generating profits, providing investment opportunities. I can already think of some things in my head. And, you know, become that leverage where these women that we work with become more financially empowered. Thank you.
Doctor?
Well, I guess my wish at the end of the whole process, I don't know how this whole thing is going to be measured or what the KPI is. But for me, if I was to choose a KPI, I would tell you that at the end of the day, how many millions of dollars of investable capital are you able to attract into this space? And therefore, my wish is for this to become so viable that you have capital rushing in and taking it off the philanthropic platform into something that is much more sustainable on a commercial basis going forward.
That's a great wish. Thank you. Natalie?
I hate always being behind smart people, but I think it's all in the name of this initiative. So I'd like to see that there's real opportunities for people that are tangible and sustainable.
Real opportunities for people that are tangible and sustainable. Our regulator at the table.
Yeah, the only thing I'll probably just want us to look at is just to key into our app, like the young man that came, the last speaker, spoke about USSD. We already have an application that is in existence. Let us just key into this. You'll be able to probably just see if you have all this waste from there. Just send it as like an Uber thing. You could sit in right of your house and other waste that okay, I have this. Let collector or aggregator come and pick. That application is working presently now.
So what we need
PAKM.
What we need is a system for aggregation and a digital form of actually doing what we're doing in physical form already. And I think one of the things that's very important about the ECI program is that actually collecting and tracking and monitoring is at the heart of the program itself. So hopefully that will be amplified also over the years. Amaka?
So my wish for ECI, it's to build a sustainable model where everyone within the value chain has an increased earning capacity. And then we get to empower more beyond the 10 people we have on the table. So I see more processors processing in the kind of capacity that would solve the African circular economy opportunities. So, and really just to the question she asked about incentivizing, or it's once the street value gets higher, you don't need more incentive. And that's really the app she's talking about, because today we saw that the money is trapped at a particular place. We want an even distribution of the value so that the street value gets higher and then plastic collects itself. So that would be my wish for ECI. Thank you.
I think that's an awesome wish, actually. And we really are, so again, we're going back to the beginning where we talked about SDG number 17. And who remembers what the tagline is of the Sustainable Development Goals? Leave
no one behind.
Leave no one behind. That's what I read from that as well. So we're building a system that leaves no one behind, whether the rural in the most remote location or whether the investor that wants to invest $1 billion, everybody in this value chain. Arese?
Okay. I wish ECI 3 things. That firstly, the ECI project will be able to demonstrate what Partnership for the Goals are. Secondly, ECI initiative will be able to demonstrate that this waste economy or the business is viable. And then finally, that ECI initiative will be able to scale up Nigerians' plasticonomy, be a platform to create the awareness and change the narrative. Thank you.
I love that. And so succinctly put, actually. I think we need to rewatch the video and write it down and make sure that we achieve those KPIs that you just set, RSA. And I'm looking at Waste Exchange Taiwo, because you see, you're one of the beneficiaries of ECI. You're one of the major beneficiaries of ECI. And we fought to bring you on board. And not just that, you went through an innovation challenge process, you're benefiting from a loop lab process, and you're now inside the ECI process. And the one thing you said the last time was that you consider yourself also responsible for empowering the collectors in your space. And one of the things you talked about is the street value of plastic. I think that was also a comment over there. Everyone must. It cannot be that somewhere in the value chain, some people benefit and it doesn't trickle down and it doesn't trickle up. So you have the burden of accountability of the funds that have been invested in you, not just for you, but for the good of all that are connected to your ecosystem, including the environment in which you operate. So when we come to your offices, we will be looking around the streets on the way. And if we see plastics there, we will shout. So not just do you have to make a prayer for ECI, but as the representative of all the aggregators in the room, you also have to pledge a commitment on behalf of ECI that you will fulfill. So that in a year's time, when we come back to this stage, and we have all these people in the room, we can all stand up, because we'll write everything. Having said all of that and put you on the spot, Taiwo, the microphone is yours.
Okay, first and foremost, 25,000 tons in 2 years. I've done the calculation, which is about 1,041 tons per month. So if you are looking at 10 aggregators, that is just like 10 tons per aggregator in the next 2 years, which is very, very doable. 10 tons is even small. Because if you do the calculation, 25,000 tons divided by 24, that will give 1,041.
Okay, pause. Can everybody that is an aggregator in the room and a collector please stand up? Can we agree that this target is doable, is achievable, and we're doing it? Is the answer yes? Yes. I can't hear you. Yes. Does the rest of the room applaud this commitment? I can't hear you. So we're in this thing together. We don't have a choice. We've got to make this work, because if we don't make it work, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of 1999, when I was advocating for microfinance. And when we started giving money out, we had to say to the groups of women who had never seen that kind of capital from a bank before, and to the microfinance institutions who had never been funded by a bank. I remember standing up and saying, if you fall my hand, nobody else will benefit from this thing. And we're just the beginning. So we're committed?
And that is for the collectors. Now, coming to the 3,000 women, that is just like 8 tons in 2 years, which is minimal also. Then, my wish for ECI is a situation whereby we are turning everybody see waste as liability, but with this program now, we are going to be seeing waste as assets. And the slogan of ECI will be, don't waste your waste. Thank you.
Nice one. Love that. Love that. Thank you, Taiwo. Thank you very much. Odumayo, you have the honor of the last word.
A lot has been said. I think I can sum up my prayer or wishes for ECI in 3 words. I think the first thing is growth. You know, sustainable growth in terms of value and volume. I wish ECI. And the second thing is the contagion effect, really. Because we're here today in Lagos, we're talking about this. There there are 36 other states, and then the FCT. So the contagion effect must, kick in. And I think the last thing for me is a transgenerational, almost like an inheritance in terms of the advocacy, where across all ages, generations, we become so much more aware, courtesy of what ECI does, about the need, to do something about waste, and the fact that waste is really, like you said, not a burden, is wealth, really.
Waste is wealth. Can I have someone tell me what time it is? 4:13. And this segment of the program ends at what time? 4:15. So we're bang on time to give a good, huge round of applause to our awesome panelists. Thank you very, 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 very much.
Our panelists can be excused, please. Another round of applause for our panelists, please. This is where our panelists, you shake hands and then you pose for a picture with the photographer. Please kindly, Dr. Ndidi, please join them.
You can also take the Goodwill speakers up, so take the photo at the same time.
Okay, we have our speakers giving us the Goodwill messages. Can also join them. Dr. Fumi, please come on this side so we'll have, Dr. Fumi, please come on this side so we'll balance it. Exactly. The ECI team. The ECI team, please.
The GBF team.
Let me see where to place Nicholas. Nicholas, come on this side. Come on this side. Exactly. Can you close the gap here? Exactly. Exactly.
What should we say? ECI? 1, 2, 3, ECI.
No, you guys are not smiling, so we'll take it one more time. 1, 2, 3.
ECI.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please. We'll now take the goodwill messages from our speakers.
Okay, I'm taking over MC function just for 2 seconds, and that's because actually there's a VIP in the room who has refused to come on stage, refused to join the photographs, and is just sitting quietly and is smiling brilliantly, and his name happens to be Uche, and so I'm going to actually make him come and kickstart the goodwill messages, so be warned.
Okay, so Mr. Uche, you've been set up. There's been a cut. Please do. Yes, yes, please do. So we'll open with you. Please. Yes, please, a round of applause for Mr. Uche, please.
Hello. Hello. Is it on? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, so this has been very interesting. And of course, when you listen to all the panelists, what you can see is passion. And basically what I do for the Coca-Cola Company is to help to midwife a lot of the programs that the Coca-Cola Foundation sponsors and to ensure that the social impact is felt. And so my goodwill message would be that between GBF and ECI, at the end of the day, every woman and every community and every family will feel the positive impact of this program. Can I hear aye? All right, and that is my goodwill message, that at the end of the day, on behalf of everyone and the Coca-Cola Foundation and the wonderful people that are supporting this initiative, that lives will be changed and we will make things better for everyone. Thank you very much for the privilege and honor. It was great being here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Uche. I'd now like to welcome Dr. Tumi Imebore. She's representing Dr. Dolakwa Fasawe, the GM of LASEPA. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Tumi.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Tumi Imebore, and as he mentioned, I'm here on behalf of Dr. Dolakwa Fasawe, who's the GM/CEO of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency. It's an honor to be here this afternoon to deliver a goodwill message, and I'm especially honored to be in the presence of the Honorable Commissioner, the Vice President of Coca-Cola, the distinguished participants from various ministries, departments, and agencies, the sustainability champions here that are present, and the impressive group of resource people that are engaged to facilitate at this event. Indeed, looking through the list of intellectuals assembled here and their pedigrees, I nurse no doubt in my mind that the insights and pragmatic experiences shared at this launch will equip us positively towards a robust framework that the next generation will be proud of. I especially commend the Growing Business Foundation for undertaking this laudable initiative and the effort to gather experts and players to reshape the way we think of plastic waste, not as a resource curse, but as capital with the potential to strengthen the growth performance of the Nigerian economy and diversify its production base. There's no better time to launch this initiative than now, when the word plastic itself has a derogatory connotation. We think of it as cheap, fake, and expendable. And this is partly due to plastic being a central material, supporting a throwaway lifestyle that has thrived over the past decades. This perception must and will change in time. The ECI is an innovative and a unique model that will harmonize the interaction amongst actors in the plastic waste management ecosystem and accelerate efficient recovery of plastic waste. With the focus on women and youth as key drivers and major beneficiaries for this initiative, it will serve as an impetus for unleashing their potential whilst contributing to their economic independence. I want to also use this opportunity to extend my good wishes to the management and the staff of the Growing Business Foundation as you celebrate GBF at 23. Your commitment over the years to improving the life of the underserved has not gone unnoticed. Can we give them a round of applause? As I congratulate GBF on their giant strides, I would also like to acknowledge today Coca-Cola Foundation for their contributions as a founding partner. Can we also give them a round of applause? The theme for this launch, Scaling Nigeria's Plastic Economy, is apt and germane to the current efforts to strengthen and restructure the recalcitrant challenge of plastic waste management. Plastic is undoubtedly one of the most industrial efficient materials. It's designed to be strong, light, resistant to degradation, and highly moldable, both chemically and physically. Due to these advantageous properties, plastics are used in all walks of life. However, effective methods and technology to deal with end of life for plastic products have not been fully adopted and applied. There is the need to find a unified approach to restricting problematic plastics, improving domestic recycling capacity, and pursuing a circular plastic economy. As a preventative strategy, environmental education has been adopted in the last few decades. Using Hong Kong as a case study, almost every youngster can recite the 3 R's. Does anyone know the 3 R's? Reduce, reuse, recycle of waste management, all thanks to decades of environmental education campaigns funded by the government. On January 27, 2001, the World Economic Forum announced the Nigerian government's decision to join its global plastic action partnership. This decision represents a significant step in the right direction towards eliminating plastic pollution in Nigeria. Through the partnership, leading policymakers, civil society organizations, and business leaders will unite towards the formulation of a national action plan to prevent plastic pollution. This is one of the reasons why the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, LASEPA, was created. With the aim to protect and improve the environment, LASEPA assists public and private organizations, industries, businesses, NGOs to achieve compliance by providing environmentally friendly solutions to varied environmental challenges. And so Dr. Dolakbo Fashawe and LASEPA identify and are committed to environmental programs like ECI. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very gratifying to note that the Empowering Collector Initiative is a national action plan, a plan that has garnered considerable interest across the broad spectrum of civil society. I urge you to continue examining the issues before you passionately in the best interest of our economy and the environment. I urge us to see this initiative beyond its launch and streamline our knowledge, sharing, and collaboration effort. In our peculiar environment, this will enable us to enjoy a single source of truth that is readily available from an interdisciplinary, well-established, reliable, and qualitative perspective, and driving the robust growth trajectory we envision. I enjoin all beneficiaries of the ECI enterprise to avert enterprise failure and its attendant consequences by ensuring that the intervention received from the ECI are channeled equitably and judiciously in the best interest of our economy. I hope that we see out all the prayers that our panelists put forward for the ECI. Thank you everybody here today, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
No, we could do better than that, please. Another round of applause for her. And I'd like to welcome the MD of LAGRA, Dr. Femi Idowu Adegoke. Please, a round of applause for him.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to stand on existing protocol. Point of correction, I'm not MD of LAGRA, I'm the president of LAGRA. LAGRA is an association, not a limited liability company. I bring goodwill message to GBF and ECI and then Coca-Cola Foundation from Lagos Recyclers Association. This initiative is in tandem with what we stand for in Lagos State Recycling Association, which is inclusiveness, collaboration, and partnership across the value chain. This marks the beginning of a new era in the recycling space, where all stakeholders, beginning from consumers, manufacturers, recyclers, and everyone in this space takes part in the recycling aspect. which is what gives us the sustainable waste management system that we're talking about. So my message today to ECI is to reach out more to create clusters across Lagos State, because Lagos is a microcosm of Nigeria. Once we get it right in Lagos, we'll get it right across Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Femi. And I'd like to also welcome the Vice President of RAN, Olufunto Boroface. Please, a round of applause for her.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to stand on existing protocols, but I just wanted to, on behalf of all the RAN members, if you're a RAN member and you're in the room, please can you just raise your hand? So thank you so much. And again, a huge thank you to ECI, GBF, the Coca-Cola Foundation, MBC, and all our partners in the room, FBRA, and all our partners in the room for seeing the vision that we had since 2018. When a group of recyclers came together to start the conversation around some of the challenges that we have, that we're facing as recyclers. And to even see this sort of be birthed today is so exciting for, I'm sure, all of us and for all the aggregators that have been supported, because it finally shows that people are listening and they're hearing some of the pains and the cries that we have. And at the level that, you know, the Coca-Cola Foundation has been able to come in and put their money where their mouth is, we're excited because it just shows us that you know, finally we're being heard, number one, but that there's a future that is viable, that is bankable, and that we can eventually, again, scale this PLASTICONOMY that is being talked about. For me, as a recycler, you know, I'm based in Abuja, you know, so, you know, Lagos is not Nigeria, and I will continue to say that. But at the same time, you know, to what Femi had said, Lagos is definitely the microcosm of, you know, what would eventually, hopefully, we'll see across the nation. But for other parts of the nation, I will say that, you know, Lagos is still very much blessed, right? If you go to other parts, especially the north, and you see the amount of poverty, the amount of people suffering, right? And the fact that a lot of people are using this as a means to empower themselves and to, you know, earn an income. This project and the fact that we're focusing on collectors, we're focusing on people at the bottom of the economic pyramid, just gladdens my heart, because we then know that, you know, people who are going to really need this, who are going to need the income, are going to be impacted. And so my prayer for ECI, my prayer for this, for GBF, for the Coca-Cola Foundation, and everybody who has actually put some thought, money, all the, you know, ECI members who have, you know, put some thought into this. My prayer for all of you is that whatever you continue to lay your hands to will continue to prosper. And I'm praying that, you know, this program will, again, this is just the beginning of bigger and better things. And for every recycler here who, even when nobody was listening to us, when nobody knew what we were doing, where we were in the trenches, I just want to say, just keep on. Keep on, keep on, keep on. You know, one of our members just raised $4 million, so the rest of us were like, whoo-hoo. So it shows that, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So again, I just want to say, please just keep on, regardless of any challenges, just keep on. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Coca-Cola Foundation, NBC, thank you so much. Dr. Ndidi, thank you so much. And then we're looking forward to doing more of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I especially love the excitement and the passion with which she delivered her message. Please, another round of applause for Boroface Olufunto. Sorry, Dr. Femi is President, Lagos Recyclers Association. Thank you, Dr. Femi. Thank you so much. If you listen carefully to Dr. Ndidi when she was talking about the vision and especially the journey with MTN and now to Coca-Cola, you'd understand why it is important to stay committed to a vision, to a journey. And ladies and gentlemen, please another round of applause for Dr. Ndidi as I bring her up and as she introduces the last goodwill message that we will get for today. Please give her a round of applause. It is not easy.
You'll notice I have a tendency to give away my chair, right? So my black chair was supposed to be me sitting, and I wanted Amaka, and I wanted an investor on the stage. And so I'm about to kind of do it again, because we have the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budgets in the room. and I'm supposed to do the closing. But I think that it's appropriate that the person who closes us is actually not us ourselves, but rather that we ask him to do it. So he's going to do a goodwill message, and he's going to do a closing message. And what I want to applaud also at the moment is Lagra and Ran. It's so important. You know, Lagos is a mega city, so it likes to bully us by letting us know that it has the largest population, right? It's a mega city first. It's a mega city first. And it is becoming a smart city, and not just that, and this is where I'm going. It also is a circular city. So as I introduce Honorable Sam Egube to give his own goodwill message, I also introduced one of the emblems that are here on the board, something called Circular Lagos, which we initiated 2 years ago. Around the table, His Excellency the Governor kicked it off. Again, Growing Businesses Foundation was at the table, and also another logo that you see there, the Circular Economy Innovation Partnership, was also at the table. And so the same tandem you have, Lagra and Ran, the same tandem you also have in terms of Circular Lagos as a model that is supposed to be circular cities across Nigeria. So what we've always got to remember is anything that we do, and that we do however small, we have to do it in such a manner that it can be replicated and it can be scaled. And that's the reason why we're here, in partnership and in collaboration, and it's my great pleasure to invite you, Honorable Egube, to the table. And I'm hearing Amaka making signs at me, which tells me that I cannot hand over the closing remarks. Looks like I have to hold them. And so you're giving a goodwill statement. My brother, thank you very much for coming.
Nice. You know, if you know Ndidi very well, you know that you're right. I mean, she doesn't leave the objective alone. She holds on to it like a bulldog and sees to it that she galvanizes significant amount of partnership that basically create for us the trust that we require to move the vision ahead. And I think this is just one of that moment again. I'd like to acknowledge the Coca-Cola Foundation for being such a great Lagosian. I would like to acknowledge Growing Business Foundation. Also, the initiative which we are driving today, the Empowering Collectors Initiative. I would like to also acknowledge what she mentioned earlier, Circular Lagos. It will be difficult for me to understand this much without Circular Lagos. They actually brought me into the fray, you know, to say, look, we need this for Lagos. And so when Mr. Governor stood up to say, let's pull it off, right, we knew that Lagos State was going to back it, and then Circular Economy Innovation Partners. I also like to acknowledge senior government officials that are here from ministries and parastatals and agencies of government. I would like to say I'm honored to serve as a guest today in a gathering like this. I define this as a change-making gathering, and to be hosted by remarkable institutions like the Growing Business Foundation, the Coca-Cola Foundation. I am grateful for your hospitality and proud to convey this goodwill of mine, which does not just represent me as a person, but the entire Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget. We meet at a time when the word urgent may not adequately express how expeditiously we need to move and act. The menace of plastic waste as it is not being over-dramatized. Evidently, it is fast becoming a pandemic, and sometimes when you see the images of it in our drains and in our waterways, you can tell where the story is going if we do not act as swiftly as we're acting. Nigeria currently ranks number 7 according to a World Population Review report in 2001, generating about 5.96 million tons of plastics waste every year. If not properly managed, this can constitute a threat to our quality of life and to the way people really lead their life. It can contribute to things around flooding of the city, because Lagos as it is already below sea level. So when people burn plastic as a waste management strategy, it releases harmful toxins into the air and causes a lot of health concerns. It's the reason why Mr. Governor, in articulating his agenda, put health and environment in the same bucket. Because if you deal correctly with the environment, then you tend to spend less on healthcare related issues, and that then begins to help the economy generally. It is exciting to be in this event, to understand that this is not all gloom and doom. There are people rising up. There are people raising $4 million, right? And we are together to support one another. So this has been an outstanding. The event is the theme. We need to scale this thing. We need to scale this conversation. We need to look at how to make it bigger. We need to scale it that it becomes visible enough for everybody for people to generally aspire to participate in this kind of economy. We need to inspire stakeholders to have very serious, honest, and stimulating conversations among themselves about shaping the perspective of the people to view plastics waste from an economic lens, to become environmentally responsible, as well as change advocates. When you see an electrons exciting each other to a point that what you see is an explosion. So what I expect and continue to expect is that as we gather together, we'll continue to excite each other. All of these for environment. Mr. Tunji Bello is not here, who has really allowed the waste and plastic recycling. I believe that to move forward and have a sweeping effect, there must be sustained effort to listen to each other, to learn from each other, to aggregate ideas and agree common solution. I sincerely thank Growing Business Foundation for the initiative, an extension from her 7-pillar sustainability culture to empower over 3,000 youth and women to collect and recycle 25,000 metric tons of plastics across Nigeria within the next 24 months. I would also like to appreciate the Coca-Cola Foundation, who have funded this initiative. I know that working together is what it means to be Lagosian. So when I said Coca-Cola Foundation is a Lagosian, once you open up yourself to work together, you know, that is why in Lagos we say Igbega Igbile Eko Ajimosheni, which means you can't lift Lagos together just from one point. Everybody must put their hands together to galvanize the lifting up of Lagos. And that is what we see here today happening. By working together, you bring decades of social and environmental impact experience to vitally boost our efforts to understand and strap together a working system of waste recovery and management. I would like to acknowledge the crucial role of all partners, Recyclers Association of Nigeria, Circular Economy Innovation Partnership, Lagos Recyclers Association of Nigeria, and many others that work assiduously to just get this project running. I hope that the partnerships represented here today will be strengthened and will be sustained. Please receive my highest regard on your continuous efforts in respect of this work. And I look forward to hearing more from all of you as partners working together, together with us in government and with people like Ndidi that will not let go till her goals are achieved. I would like to express the commitment of the Lagos State government in pushing ahead and pushing further these initiatives and those like it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for the Honorable Commissioner. So, Amara, can we bring Madam down? Because I'm not taking permission from. Please, a round of applause for Dr. Ndidi one more time as she takes the closing remarks, please.
Appropriately with Amaka, I just wanted to start before I give it to Amaka. If you notice, I gave my shirt away during the panel discussion. Notice how what you give away comes back to you. So I'm very glad, actually, that Amaka stopped me, because between when she stopped me and when I came, I got a shirt back. And it's a new shirt, so it's not the old one that I was wearing before. So
I don't want to, permit me to break the protocol, sir, because ideally we should be rounding off the program after he spoke. But there's something really, or like a vote of thanks, and there are specific people I really wanted to recognize, because without them, we wouldn't be in this room. So, and really, I know that when Funto spoke, there was an energy that came from within. But really, we're here because it was thousands of phone calls, thousands of nights, as in midnight strategy sessions, and I really would like to acknowledge the management of RAN, from the president, who is Mazi Ukono. I guess Mazi should be online, that is not here in this room. I really want to say a big thank you to Mazi, to Funto, the VP of RAN. Really, these two individuals bore the burden of the whole recyclers and fought to say, how can we have people from different regions on the table? And really, they spent so much time, so much of the energy, so much thinking, and of course, the best and not the last, my wonderful Ndidi. Because at the time I was brainstorming in terms of who can bear this burden for us, I knew Ndidi, but she never came to my mind. It was a recommendation from these two individuals that actually pointed me in the direction to say, look at GBF, because we really needed a foundation that has long-standing footprints, credibility, the capacity to be able to run what we wanted. And the moment we shared the vision with her and she caught it, that was it. She ran with it, co-created different things, and you can see when she was talking, her wonderful team members, from Bolaji to Ayo, to some of them I don't even know the name, did phenomenal work on the ground to be able to flesh it out and map even beyond what we had actually created. And I really didn't want to read the nice speeches, talk about this wonderful project without really giving some snippets of what happened beyond the scene. And really, my profound thanks and gratitude goes to these individuals and beyond, people that actually could not call here. But I just wanted to make that recognition, because really, when when things are born, people actually don't understand the number of sleepless nights that actually went into creating them. So with that, I will say thank you so much for the management of GBF, management of RAN, and by extension, LAGRA as well, who has actually given in their best to be able to create what we have here in this room. And I charge everybody that really this is just the beginning, because from the company side and even from the FVRA perspective, our commitment is total to ensure that the circular value chain of plastic and other packaging waste actually works for Nigeria. Thank you.
So you see how I have a tendency to give things away. I always get them back, right? And you know, God moves. There's no way that we cannot end this forum without mentioning that. And so when I was giving away the closing remarks to the Honorable Commissioner, I wasn't giving away the vote of thanks. And in my mind, I thought to myself, when I sit, I'm going to call somebody who is also somebody who needs to be thanked. So when you talk about the moving force behind and the dogged, continued, you know, she actually put her life on the line, for her life, Jesus, her job. No, you remember, she put her job on the line for this program. She told her boss, I put my job on the line because I believe that these people will deliver. So let me join to that, and let me actually call, I'm going to call Funto, I'm going to call Bolaji, I'm going to call Ayo, I'm going to call Samson. These are the first to come. You know, I'm a big fan of calling people up to the floor, simply because, yes, these were the sleepless nights held before this evening happened. I'm going to carry on and call Nicholas and Maureen and Jalili, and I actually, you know what, if you know you put your hand on the table to make this thing real, as we're saying the vote of thanks, let's not just say it, let's stand up and receive it. And Jalili, this time please come up front. So this is a celebration. You know, sometimes when you come to the end of one road and you say, we did it. So we did it, the launch. But guess what? As we well said during the panel, the work is only just beginning. So everybody in the room actually, apart from, I don't know why you're keeping space. Everybody in the room, actually, and now we're exhausted, apart from everybody here around the table, Uche, I don't know why you're sitting down, you better just get up and come. Aggregators, collectors, stakeholders, government partners, other partners, CEIP, GBF, Uncle Sam, might as well just come and stand here. Everybody just stand up and actually just self-applaud, because this would not be here. Everybody get up and self-applaud. We wouldn't be here, we wouldn't have achieved anything if every single one of you wasn't here. So it's honestly just big, big thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, you want me to say something? Okay, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has been here, from Coke to the Honorable Commissioner, thank you. I met you in your office some time ago. To our collectors, to our recyclers, to our partners, thank you very much. And you know, Davido will say he choke, but we're not going to say, but we're not going to say he choke. We're going to say, you know, let's win together. Let's do this together. Thank you.
So it seems like the fist bump is the call to action for everybody. So thank you so much.
Okay, so now that the official vote of thanks is done, I can thank those other people you're not supposed to mention. Thank you to our MC. Don't worry, I'm done. Thank you to the press and to the media that are here. Thank you to Expose and the team that did all the work behind the scenes. And back to you.
Thank you very much, Ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Ndidi. Very quickly, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it has been a most amazing day to have each and every one of you. And you guys have been a wonderful audience. Please, a round of applause for yourselves. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to really do this one for everybody who is watching online, who is not here physically. I'm sure that whatever it is, whatever energy you think you got here, they probably wish that they got the same dose of it. So please, another round of applause for them watching. Remember, we did that at the beginning. Please do not forget, we created a hashtag here when we started earlier for all the pictures and every conversation that we'll be driving from here, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Please endeavor to use the hashtag, okay? The hashtag is hashtag ECI PLASTICONOMY. Very quickly, And as Dr. Ndidi said, we would like to thank Expose Experiential. They put all of this together. Please, another round of applause for them, please. Thank you. I'd like for the collectors, please, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this all together. I really want to appreciate them. I'd like for the collectors to please stand up once again, please. Please let them rise. Please give them a round of applause. And the ushers, the usher, please, help me lead the collectors to the blue carpet. Help me lead them forward there. Help me lead them to the blue carpet, please. Oftentimes in Nigeria, everywhere in the world, like Dr. Ndidi said, the people behind the scene who do the very dirty work, as you like to call them, the humble work, the honest work, are not so appreciated, not so counted, but that is not what we do here at GBF. And remember, these people that you've seen here are only a part of the 3,000 other collectors that will be empowered by this program. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for us all, for some of us who came in while the program was going on, the work of Mr. Olarewaju Tejuosho has been partly exhibited, is behind us there. We can all go to the back and have a feel of it and talk to him, because I think he's somewhere behind there also, and as we get prepared for refreshment. Oh yes, for refreshment, please. So thank you. My name is Tommy Osage. It has been a most amazing privilege to be the host of this event today. Thank you all, and have a safe drive back to your base. Another round of applause for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Very quickly, one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Refreshment is being provided for us at the back of the hall, but it is important, please, we would like for all our invited guests to please go to the food stand at the back, table by table, please. Table by table, starting from the tables at the back, please, so that we can have some refreshments, please. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as we network and meet, please, there's refreshment for us at the back of the hall. I would like for each and everyone to approach table by table, starting from the back. Thank you. DJ Baz, buzz them up.
16 generations. This is a staggering environmental problem. Plastic is everywhere. With a population of over 200 million people, Nigerians generate a massive plastic waste that pollutes our environment via its consumption. Clogged drainage systems, beaches, landfills that creates air pollutants when burnt. Most evident is when it rains and cities, towns becomes flooded with piles of plastics, thereby creating numerous health issues. We eat, drink, breathe plastic every day. In the last second alone, over 100,000 sales have been bagged in plastics. Plastic waste per head is estimated at 1 kilogram per annum, and that is resulting in 200,000 metric tons of plastic waste. Hey, it's not all gloom and doom, as several initiatives over the years have been designed to curb the scourge on our environment, but they fail to meet with the high demands of plastic waste generation. A nascent industry is developing in Nigeria around 3 main strands. 1. Recycling plastic waste for conversion to bottles for onward sales to the food and beverage industry. 2. Exporting the waste to large-scale recyclers in Europe and Asia. 3. There is a business opportunity imagined, especially predicated on EPR legislations, around the circular economy for plastics. All of these beacons on newer initiatives that can improve and increase the efficiency and sustainability of waste plastic ecosystem, while opportunities for job creation, enhanced household incomes, and innovations strive. Enter Empowering Collectors Initiative, ECI, the most effective sustainability program yet. Designed by Growing Businesses Foundation under its 7 Pillars program funded by the Coca-Cola Foundation, an initiative geared to tackle heads-on the challenges of plastic waste generation in Nigeria. ECI will empower disposers, collectors, and aggregators in a manner that will accelerate the collection of waste plastic. ECI closes all the gaps within the recycling processes through its data-driven, results-based approach to link all activities and stating clearly daily achievements of predefined tasks linked to the goal. The core objectives of ECI are to scale collections and micro-aggregation in 6 states across Nigeria by 1. Collection capacity intervention, that is, making plastic collection better and more efficient through liquidity injection into the ecosystem. 2. Processing capacity intervention, that is, making processing better by deploying infrastructure to increase processing capacity. 3. Logistic capacity intervention, that is, we are making micro-logistics better by organizing and deploying logistics infrastructure to transport plastics across the value chain. 4. Empower women and youths whilst increasing their income. 5. Outline how this transformation of the plastic waste economy in Nigeria will work in a sustainable way based on the triggering actions of the Coca-Cola Foundation. 6. Increase awareness around plastic waste and circular economy. 7. Increase and sustain the livelihood of women and youths involved in plastic collection and aggregation in the community by making wealth from plastic. The ECI will be implemented in 6 states covering the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria and is set to achieve these deliverables. 1. 25,000 metric tons plastic waste recovery target within the next 24 months. 2. Onboard 3,000 waste pickers and collectors. 3. Onboard 10 aggregators. We are leading the way towards a greater plastic waste sustainability ecosystem and a fast-forward thinking future for all stakeholders. Empowering Collectors Initiative. It is said that plastic pollution is creating a 400-year problem globally. That is 16 generations. This is a staggering environmental problem. Plastic is everywhere. With a population of over 200 million people, Nigerians generate a massive plastic waste that pollutes our environment via its consumption. Clogged drainage systems, beaches, landfills that creates air pollutants when burnt. Most evident is when it rains and cities, towns becomes flooded with piles of plastics, thereby creating numerous health issues. We eat, drink, breathe plastic every day. In the last second alone, over 100,000 sales have been bagged in plastics. Plastic waste per head is estimated at 1 kilogram per annum, and that is resulting in 200,000 metric tons of plastic waste. Hey, it's not all gloom and doom, as several initiatives over the years have been designed to curb the scourge on our environment, but they fail to meet with the high demands of plastic waste generation. A nascent industry is developing in Nigeria around 3 main strands. 1. It is said that plastic pollution has created a 400-year problem globally. That is 16 generations. This is a staggering environmental problem. Plastic is everywhere. With a population of over 200 million people, Nigerians generate a massive plastic waste that pollutes our environment via its consumption. Clogged drainage systems, beaches, landfills that creates air pollutants when burnt. Most evident is when it rains and cities, towns becomes flooded with piles of plastics, thereby creating numerous health issues. We eat, drink, breathe plastic every day. In the last second alone, over 100,000 sales have been bagged in plastics. Plastic waste per head is estimated at 1 kilogram per annum, and that is resulting in 200,000 metric tons of plastic waste. Hey, it's not all gloom and doom, as several initiatives over the years have been designed to curb the scourge on our environment, but they fail to meet with the high demands of plastic waste generation. A nascent industry is developing in Nigeria around 3 main strands. 1. Recycling plastic waste for conversion to bottles for onward sales to the food and beverage industry. 2. Exporting the waste to large-scale recyclers in Europe and Asia. 3. There is a business opportunity imagined, especially predicated on EPR legislations, around the circular economy for plastics. All of these beacons on newer initiatives that can improve and increase the efficiency and sustainability of waste plastic ecosystem, while opportunities for job creation, enhanced household incomes, and innovations strive. Enter Empowering Collectors Initiative, ECI, the most effective sustainability program yet. Designed by Growing Businesses Foundation under its 7 Pillars program funded by the Coca-Cola Foundation, an initiative geared to tackle heads-on the challenges of plastic waste generation in Nigeria. ECI will empower disposers, collectors, and aggregators in a manner that will accelerate the collection of waste plastic. ECI closes all the gaps within the recycling processes through its data-driven, results-based approach to link all activities and stating clearly daily achievements of predefined tasks linked to the goal. The core objectives of ECI are to scale collections and micro-aggregation in 6 states across Nigeria by 1. Collection capacity intervention, that is, making plastic collection better and more efficient through liquidity injection into the ecosystem. 2. Processing capacity intervention, that is, making processing better by deploying infrastructure to increase processing capacity. 3. Logistic capacity intervention, that is, we are making micro-logistics better by organizing and deploying logistics infrastructure to transport plastics across the value chain. 4. Empower women and youths whilst increasing their income. 5. Outline how this transformation of the plastic waste economy in Nigeria will work in a sustainable way based on the triggering actions of the Coca-Cola Foundation. 6. Increase awareness around plastic waste and circular economy. 7. Increase and sustain the livelihood of women and youths involved in plastic collection and aggregation in the community by making wealth from plastic. The ECI will be implemented in 6 states covering the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria and is set to achieve these deliverables. 1. 25,000 metric tons plastic waste recovery target within the next 24 months. 2. Onboard 3,000 waste pickers and collectors. 3. Onboard 10 aggregators. We are leading the way towards a greater plastic waste sustainability ecosystem and a fast-forward-thinking future for all stakeholders. Empowering Collectors Initiative.